Good evening, dear students. I hope you all are good and studying hard. I am C. Ankit Sharma, your income tax faculty for next 5 sessions. So, before starting the class, let me talk about the paper, what we are going to discuss. So, our paper is income tax. It's a very fascinating subject. It's very important also. And for your examination purpose, your tax law subject is divided into two parts, part 4A and part 4B. So let's discuss regarding the subject, the marks allotted to the each part. So our paper is tax law and is two part divided. One is income tax, that is paper 4A, and the other part is GST, that is paper 4B. This part contains 60% marks and this is for 40%. So this 100 marks paper is divided into two parts. 60 marks belongs to income tax and 40 marks belongs to GST. So what we are going to study in this session is all about income tax provision. So first topic, what we are going to discuss today is basic concept. That is your chapter number 1, basic concepts. I already uploaded the notes of this chapter and I believe you all must have downloaded it. So there are certain rules, there are certain guidelines for attending the classes. Before starting these classes, I would like to thank Board of Study, the whole team, the institute, the Board of Study and the whole team who is working for these classes. You should also understand that your institute is so sincere about your studies, about your future, that they are providing these classes to you. And that is free of cost. And that is very, very important because in this country, nobody, no organization, this big organization is only doing this for their students, for their future, that they can attend classes free. So there will be no break. If there are some students, those do not have funds for attending classes, so our institute is actually thinking about you. And they are technically set up this beautiful format for you, that live classes for you. Institute, Board of Study, actually finding the best faculties for you. And they are providing you classes, notes, questions, etc., etc. So we all should. I personally thanks to Institute being a part of Board of Study faculty. And you should also understand that how difficult it is to manage this whole scenario. Even there's the medical studies, engineering studies, but no institute in our country is doing this. This is only ICAI, which is technically doing this for you. And this is only for you. So you should understand the importance, the sincerity behind this. And there is a whole team. You only see the faculty who are delivering the lectures. But we are just the face, but the whole team, the technical team, the coordinator, everybody, so the whole team which is working for these classes. So you should get these classes with the best quality and free of cost, right? So let's say good evening to everyone. So a lot of students have joined the classes and Hitesh is saying good evening. Pooja is saying, okay, take our all classes. That is not in my hand, Pooja. Board of Study will decide and Board of Study is providing the best faculty. Believe me, right? Aditya is saying good evening. Good evening, Ankit. Aniket is saying good evening. Okay, everybody, good evening. Namaskar, etc., etc. And so, as I say, we all have some guidelines in our life for doing anything. So, for this lectures, I also want you to please follow these guidelines for the maximum benefit of our lectures. So, discipline is the key to achieve any goal in your life, of course. And these are the following guidelines. You should follow it for our lectures, for our session. So, you will get the best benefit of these classes. First is notes are based on a study material issued by ICAI. Whatever notes I have uploaded, whatever we are studying, these are based upon the study material issued by ICAI. There's a query of lot of students that, sir, what study we have received like 4 months before in January 2022, is it relevant for only May, or it is also relevant for November 22? Yes, it is applicable for May as well as November 22 examination. So assessment year 22-23 study material you have received, and that is applicable for May as well as for November examination. So first confusion, I have cleared you that that's the only study material which is based for assessment year 22-23 is applicable for May as well as November examination. The amendments, notification, etc., which have been come in this income tax provision will also provided you on study portal. You can go and find it out. That is very less, very, very less. And the amendments till 30th April or notification, if is there any notification, etc., which is being issued up to 30th April 2022, that is only relevant for November examination. Any notification issue after 30th April will not be relevant for your examination. Clear? There are the case study, etc. These are also provided on the study portal. So you can go on study portal and refer the amendment, notification, etc. But the study material will remain the same, which has been issued by Institute for May 22, and that is same is going to be applicable for November 22 examination. Clear? So that is point number 2 I've explained to you. So your query regarding the study material, I hope these are solved. Third is all queries will be taken. So during our class, there might be queries which comes into your mind and you might need to ask it. So you can ask, you can send me the query, but I will answer all the queries after 30 or 40 minutes of our session. Because if I'm going to take every query, whenever you are going to ask me, then it will be really a break for our continuity of the lecture. And it will lose the beauty of our lecture, the concept, the topic, what we are discussing. So you can send me queries whenever you want. I'll take all the queries. Each query will be answered, I promise you. Okay, each relevant query will be answered, I promise you, but I'll take it after 30 or 40 minutes. So our class, our session will be smooth. Please focus during lecture and ask queries related to topic. That is very important. You should be focused. Focus is the primary thing for our life, for doing anything. If you are focused, if you are determined, if you are sincere about anything, you can achieve anything in your life. I personally believe in this, and I can prove that thing to you. That focus is the most important thing to achieve any goal. Discipline, focus, sincerity, all things. But focus is one of the most important ingredient to achieve any goal. Please try to take live lectures for better understanding. Of course, Institute have uploaded all the lectures on YouTube. You can watch them lectures after the class, etc. And there are some students, those technically watch these classes after 1 day or 2 days. But I personally suggest you should make a discipline that you should take live classes, because if you are taking live classes, your queries will be solved. But if you are taking a lecture after 1 day or 2 days, if you're watching it on YouTube, so you will not get your query answered, of course. So please make sure, if it's possible, if it is feasible for you, please take live lecture. That is definitely going to help you a lot. Kindly download notes before lecture for better understanding. Of course, notes are very relevant, because I'm going to teach you with the notes. And if you have downloaded the notes, that will be really easy for you to understand the lecture. We'll take MCQ test at the end of each lecture. I'll try to take an MCQ test at the end of each lecture. But if it's not possible, then I will take the test on starting of the next session, because if we are going to complete today's topic, so I'll try to take the MCQ test at the end of the lecture. Or if it's not possible, because if some topic has been left due to MCQ, what I'm going to ask, then I will take that test on the starting of our next lecture. The 8th point is for our Hindi students. If anyone wanted to ask any query in Hindi, so he or she can ask, and I will answer that query in Hindi also. But all other queries will be answered only in English. So please, nobody ask me, sir, please lecture can be in Hindi or etc. No, our medium is English. So this all classes will be in English only. But I just made this thing for the Hindi students, that please you can ask me any query in Hindi and I will answer that query in Hindi. Good. So I guess we are ready to get set and go. I hope you all are ready. So, okay. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. My God, very good. And one more thing, if it's possible, if you are asking your query, please write the place from you are asking that query, your city name, so that will be really easy for me to understand from where we are connected. Fine. Good evening, welcome back. Okay, you must be my old student. Okay, Mahadev. Okay. Again, somebody is asking Manoj Kumar, sir, what's about May 23? So these lectures are for November 22. For May 23, there will be a new assessment year, there will be a new act, there will be new study that will be relevant. Okay, so we are focusing on November 22. That's what I was saying. Just focus on what we are studying. What will be on May 23 or November 23 or November 24? Do not ask these kind of questions. Please, I request. Okay. Yes, I can. I am getting all the messages. Tanishka, good evening. Increase your voice. Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Okay. So done. So all good evening, namaskar, came show, etc. has been done. So now moving on to our study, our notes. So because we are starting the chapter income tax, the Act Income Tax Act 1961. Before starting this act, let me clear you one thing, that we are only studying the Income Tax Act 1961. We are only studying the Income Tax Act 1961. That does not mean that in India, income tax has been start collecting from 1961. No, please do not get confused. I'm not saying that income tax has been start collecting from India from 1961 on onwards. No, collection of tax is a very old concept. It's a very, very old concept. It's kind of Lagan. You might have seen the movie Lagan. So what was the Lagan? Lagan is kind of a tax which has been imposed upon the people by the king, etc., on the people of his kingdom. So that is kind of a tax. Initially, it was said Lagan. Initially, when there was no currency, the tax has been collected in the form of commodities. After the introduction of currency, etc., it has been collected in the form of currencies. So, what we are studying is only Income Tax Act 1961. It does not mean that income tax collection started in India from 1961. It is a very, very, very old custom, a very old concept. So, we can understand this with this definition, which describes the evolution and origination of income tax. As we are going to discuss Income Tax Act 1961, it does not mean that income tax came into force from 1961. The concept of tax collection is very old. When kings and queens were there, of course, initially it was in the nature of Lagan, which has been charged by the king of a particular kingdom from its people, public, in kind and or in the form of money. And that regime, that system, the culture, the custom is converted into a systematic structure. And that is called tax now. Whether it's GST, whether it's Custom Act, whether it's income tax, they all are technically is not started from the act, what we are studying. That is a very old concept. So what we are reading the Income Tax Act 1961 provisions. Clear? What I just trying to convey you, I hope you get that. If somebody is asking, is income tax start collecting from India from 1961? No, it is a very old concept. But what we are studying Income Tax Act 1961. Now comes the chapter, and our chapter is basic concept. Now what happens? Basic concepts. This is generally theoretical provision as well as there is some part which is also numerical, like rate of taxes, calculation of tax. That is also a part of this basic concept. Now, what happened when it comes to about the theoretical concept in a numerical subject, like income tax is the technically a numerical subject, like accounts, like cost, like FM. They are majority. We can say that is a numerical subject, right? So again, because income tax is a kind of a numerical subject, and in numerical subject, what happens? We generally give less weightage to the theoretical provision, to the basic concepts, to the definitions. We thought, no, we will do the numerical portion nicely, and let's avoid that theoretical provision, definition, etc. Do not do this kind of mistakes. The theoretical concept, the basic concepts are the foundation of any subject. They are very important. If you do not know the meaning of the definition of income, if you do not know what income comes into which head, which the theoretical concept will going to tell you, how you will tax them. So please do not underestimate the power of theoretical concept. As we say, our hero, do not underestimate the power of a common man. That's the same thing I'm trying to tell you, that do not underestimate the power of theoretical concept, or I must say, do not underestimate the power of any concept in this course. You all are doing CA course, Chartered Accountant. So that the word has so much of weightage in it. You cannot take any chapter, you cannot take any concept easily, because in examination, anything can be asked. You should not go for selected study ever in any subject. This is my golden advice to you. Just cover each and everything. Just do comprehensive study, because institute can ask anything from any topic, from any subject. So that's what I'm trying to say, that basic concept, the theoretical provision is technically the foundation of any topic. So one by one, I'll explain you each and everything, and we will enjoy this journey. This is going to be a very interesting journey. Let me tell you, income tax is the most interesting subject. Technically, every subject is interesting, but from my point of view, income tax is the most interesting subject. You will find it out why, because it's connected, it's related to your day-to-day work of a CA or a common man. It relates to a common man also. Everybody wants to know what is going to be taxed, what tax he need to pay on his income, etc. So whatever thing is common, that is technically interesting, because everybody can talk about that. So being a CA, of course, it's a kind of a Gita, it's kind of a Bible for us also. So income tax is a very important thing for a chartered accountant in his career, as a student, as a profession, as in practice, or as a job, etc. etc. So types of tax, technically there are two types of taxes, the direct tax and indirect tax. Now what is the difference between this? Let me explain you with the help of an example. Like types of tax we are talking about, one is direct tax, that is DT, and that is indirect tax, that is IDT. Fine. So technically, direct tax means those tax which is imposed upon the person who earn income. That is directly, those are directly imposed upon person who earn income. Those are called direct tax. For example, if Mr. Ram getting a salary of, that means that is getting an income of or salary of 20 lakh rupees, then who is going to pay tax on that 20 lakh rupees? Mr. Ram or anyone else? Of course, Mr. Ram need to pay tax on this income. So Mr. Ram need to pay tax on this income, and he is only, he needs to, of course, bear this tax also. So he needs to pay that tax also, and the incidence of this tax, the burden of this tax need to be also bear by him. So if there is any tax which need to be paid and bear by the same person, that is called direct tax. For example, income tax. So if Mr. Ram is earning income, he needs to pay the tax. He needs to pay that tax to the government to deposit that, and he is the only one who is going to bear that tax also. So the person is same. In the case of direct tax, the person who deposit or pay the tax or the person who bear the tax are same person. In case of indirect tax like GST, the person who pay the tax or deposit it is different, and the person who bear the tax is different. So how it is work, it's like this. If Mr. A went to a shop to buy a chocolate and he buy a chocolate of rupees 100, that is the MRP. MRP means maximum retail prices, that means including all taxes. So for example, assume if 90 rupees is the selling price and 10 rupees is GST in this. So Mr. A need to pay 100 rupees to the shopkeeper. Who's going to pay? Of course, Mr. A need to pay 100 rupees to the shopkeeper. So now this 10 rupees GST will be deposited by the shopkeeper to the government as a tax. But is the shopkeeper who bear this tax? No. Who technically pay this tax to the shopkeeper? Technically, Mr. A paid his tax. Technically, Mr. A bear this tax and the shopkeeper just need to deposit or pay it. So in indirect taxes, the tax is almost in every case bear by the customer. And it needs to be deposited by the supplier, that can be a shopkeeper, manufacturer, service provider, or etc. So in case of indirect taxes, there are generally two persons. One is who is going to bear the tax, the other is going to deposit or pay that tax. That you're going to discuss in detail when you will study GST. But in our income tax, the person is same. If I'm earning income, I need to pay the tax, I need to bear it, I need to deposit. The person is same. But in case of indirect tax, the person is always different. Clear? So let's move on to the notes. In our this class, I'll also tell you the journey of a CA, what is the journey of myself becoming a CA, how you should create your interest in your subject. That's a very important thing. Of course, CA is a difficult course and should be a difficult course. And it is a difficult course because it is important in your whole life. Everything which is difficult is technically important, or vice versa. If something is important in your life, that is technically difficult. Like if I'll ask you, doing graduation is easy or doing CA? Definitely CA is difficult to in comparison to graduation. So that's why it's more important. You can get a good job, you can get good money, respect after doing this course. So whatever is difficult, that is going to be technically important, and whatever is important, that is automatically is difficult. If I'm saying this chapter is difficult, that means it is important. If your faculty say that that chapter is very, very, very difficult, that is technically means that is also very important. So becoming a prime minister is very difficult, very, very, very difficult. So that means it's the most important thing in our country, becoming a prime minister. So in the same way, if you think that this course is difficult, then understand it this manner, because this is important. This is very important. That's why it's difficult, but it gives you a lot of things. So it is difficult, and nothing is technically difficult if you are the right way, if you have right intention, if you have sincere. Like if a man can go to the moon, if he can make a rocket, what do you think? What is difficult in this world? Nothing. You just need to have a study. You have to read your books, systematic study. You are planning hard work. That's it, and you can be a chartered accountant. So technically, it's difficult, but if you going to study systematically, I'm telling you, this is not difficult. Like I am in teaching profession from almost 18, 19 years. I was teaching face to face. Then I'm now in virtual mode, of course. So I've taught more than 10,000 students, and I believe those were sincere, not intelligent. I'm not saying intelligent. I'm saying those who are sincere, hard worker, and was determined that I want to be a chartered accountant. They all are chartered accountant. Fine. So I'll tell you how to create interest, how to systematically manage your studies so you can complete your courses and you can clear this course. Fine. So direct tax, indirect tax. Okay. If tax is levied directly on the income or wealth of a person, then it is a direct tax. Of course, the person who pay the tax to the government cannot recover it from somebody else. That is, the burden of a direct tax cannot be shifted. For example, income tax is a part of direct tax. The Black Money, Undisclosed Foreign Income and Asset and Imposition of Tax Act 2015, that is also a part of direct tax. That is not in your syllabus. Indirect tax have a different scenario. It's a different concept. If tax is levied on the price of a goods or service, then it is an indirect tax, that is GST or custom duty. In the case of indirect tax, the person paying the tax passes on the incidence to another person. That means incidence means burden. The person is going to bear it. So that other person is generally consumer or customer. Direct tax, types of indirect tax. Now moving on to the origination of income tax. In our country, whatever act you are studying, whatever act you are going to study in your future, that all are technically originate from the Constitution of India. So Constitution says that there should be a tax, on the income of the persons in India. So that's why act has been emerged, act has been made, and that is called Income Tax Act. But why income tax in our country? Why government levy tax on our income? Why? I hope you all might thinking about this, that why government charge income tax? What is the need of that? So let me explain you know this simple way. If you're living in a colony, you all might have been living in a colony or this kind of surrounding. So if you're living in a colony, then that colony charges a society rent, society charges from your house. That might be 2,000 rupees per month or 1,500, but depend upon the different locality. So if we are living in a colony, then we need to pay some charges to the colony. Why? Because of a security purpose, for water supply, might be for generator supply, for other facilities like park maintenance, etc., road maintenance, etc., etc., etc. So technically, they are charging from us to provide us facilities, which is definitely for the benefit of us. Now imagine this whole colony is like a country. Like India is a very big colony. Understand it like this manner. And that colony has like secretary, like the president, like chairman, vice chairman, treasurer, etc. So they are technically working for our colony benefit. So now assume that is India is just like a colony. Now we are all a part of that colony. So now government also want revenue to for the purpose of infrastructure, for making roads, sanitation, hospitals, medical facility, education, etc. For our security, for armed forces, for military, etc., etc. So that police, of course. So government also provide us the facility. So that's why government needs revenue. How government will provide us these facility if they do not have income? So where they will collect the income? So they charges tax, whether it's GST, whether it's income tax, etc., etc. So because we are a part of this big colony and we need to pay taxes, because we need that facilities, security, infrastructure facilities, electricity, etc., etc., etc. So because of this, government charges tax. So that's why we need to pay tax, and that's why income tax and other taxes are in force. Here's the reason. The reason for levy of tax is that they constitute the basic source of revenue to the government. Revenue source raised is utilized for meeting the expenses of government like defense, provision of education, healthcare, infrastructure facilities like road, dams, etc. Okay. Now, background. The technical concept from where this income tax came into force. I just told you from the Constitution. But Constitution, there is a technical chapter, the schedule, which is technically applicable. This act, and that's a income tax is the most significant direct tax. Entry 82 of the Union list, that is list 1, in the 7th schedule to Article 246. These are very important words. These are very important. Like in case of MCQ, Institute can ask you which entry, which schedule, which article imposed the income tax. So we need to understand in a paragraph, there are certain points which are very important. So you need to write it down, underline it, etc., etc. So this is the way to study any chapter. The whole paragraph, you find out the keywords, the key concept, the keywords, and you need to underline it, because that is the words which is really relevant for your examination purpose. So I might tell you that in this paragraph, entry 82, list 1 of Union list, 7th schedule, Article 246 of the Constitution of India has given the power to the parliament to make laws on the taxes of income other than agricultural income. Now it's very interesting thing that the power to impose tax. What happened? Parliament says let's tax the income. And now what happened? Technically, income has been divided into two parts. One is agricultural income. Agricultural income, we all know what is the income we earn from producing vegetables, fruits, etc. And the other incomes comprise what is technically the agriculture income. We have the full chapter number 3, in which we will discuss what is the exact definition of agricultural income. Fine. Other income, that means business income, salary income, all other except agricultural income. So, the power to impose tax on other incomes has been delegated to the central government, to the parliament. Constitution says that the power to impose tax on other income will be delegated to the central government. That means if I am earning income from my practice, then central government will decide which rate will be applicable, what rate will be applicable, how tax will be applicable, what is going to be exempt, etc. And this power rests with central government. And the power to impose tax on agricultural income is delegated to the respective state government. For example, if you live in UP, then UP government will decide if I'm a farmer, if I live in UP, and if I am a farmer, then my agriculture income going to be taxable or not. That is going to be decided by the state government. So the power to impose tax on agricultural income has been delegated to the state government, and the power to impose tax on other than agricultural income has been delegated to the central government. Exactly, same, simple. Everything is simple. If you have focused, if you have interest, then everything is simple. Let me tell you, if you have any dream to earn income, dream to buy a good car, dream to buy a good house, dream to have good clothes, dream to travel outside India, you can fulfill each and every dream. And I'll tell you how. That's very simple. Back to the notes. So the power to impose tax on agricultural income is specifically delegated to the state governments. Another is having with the parliament. Parliament means central government. So the act is Income Tax Act 1961, but income tax came in force from the first day of April 1962 and applicable whole of India. Income tax provision is applicable to whole of India, same provision, there is no discrimination, all are same. Okay. Okay, so somebody is asking, is income tax hard? Nothing is difficult. Nothing is difficult. Even study is the most easiest thing in your life. You might be laughing what I'm saying, that the study is very difficult, very boring. But let me tell you, it's very simple. It's very easy. You just need to understand something. And the day you will get it, the day you will understand that, you will find that this is the easiest thing to make your future. Fine. I'll tell you how. So, income tax provisions. Okay, I'll take the queries after 5 minutes, I guess. It's still good evening, etc. So now, power to levy taxes. The Constitution of India in Article 265 lays down that no tax shall be levied or collected except by authority of law. Obviously, Constitution says that there must be some authority who's going to collect and levy the taxes. So for that purpose, they need to make an act, so the income tax has been made. Accordingly, for levy of any tax, a law needs to be framed by the government. For companies, it's Companies Act. For stock exchange, there is SEBI Act, of course. So for custom duty, it's a Custom Act, of course. So there must be a law to impose any provision to levy any tax. Constitution of India gives the power to levy and collect tax, whether direct or indirect, to the central and state government. The parliament and state legislature are empowered to make laws on the matters enumerated in the 7th schedule by virtue of Article 246 of the Constitution of India. We just studied that, of course. 7th schedule to Article 246 contain 3 listed. Now this is important. That 7th schedule having 3 lists. An examination that can also be asked. How many lists are there and what is the meaning of these lists? So we have 3 lists in 7th schedule which technically describe which matter will be decided by the central government, which matter will be decided by the state government, and which matter will have the power of both government, state as well as central. So the first list is union list. Union list means parliament has the power. That means central government. So there are certain things for which the parliament has the exclusive power to make law on the matters contained in union list. So union list number 1, or we can say list 1, list 2, list 3, or we can name it union list, state list, and third is concurrent list. So union list have some things which can only be done by central government, which includes technically defense of India, naval force, air force, arms, atomic energy, etc. These are the things which have exclusive power of central government. And also tax of income other than agricultural income. State list those things which can be decided by the state. State have the exclusive power to make laws on those matters. Those are covered in state list. That is taxability of agricultural income. That is police, municipal corporation, hospital, public health, etc. These covered by the state list. Union list have almost 97 powers. State list have, or technically, I guess, 66 powers, and there's a concurrent list that is 47 matters which has been included, which has been both decided by the state as well as the central government, like marriage, divorce, criminal law, bankruptcy, insolvency, etc. These are the things which have been covered by both. So I just gave you the example for your knowledge. There is no requirement to learn them for your examination purpose. For the purpose of a knowledge, you can understand. Union list have central like armed force, naval, etc. State list, of course, we have medical, municipal corporation, etc. Police. Concurrent have divorce, marriage, etc. Those being covered by the concurrent list. Now, stages involved in Income Tax Act. So our whole income tax has been divided into 3 stages. Let me tell you, this chapter 1 is a very huge chapter. Huge chapter. This part 1 is all theoretical concept. This is going to make the foundation for the other topics, of course. And the other part of this chapter only is for proper numerical topic. That is rate of tax, etc. So we are trying to cover with the full knowledge, and let's see. Might be in the next session on day after tomorrow. We will take the numerical part, and today I am trying to cover the theoretical part, the definition, the concept. Fine. So there are basically 3 stages involved under Income Tax Act. First one is declaration of liability. Now, what is this? Let me explain you. Okay, after this declaration concept, I will take the queries. Fine. So there is stages under income tax. There are technically 3 stages under income tax. First one is declaration of liability. Declaration of liability says that every person who earn income in India need to declare his tax liability to the department and need to pay tax by himself. Understand? So what it say? It say every person who earn income in India need to declare his income himself, of course, via chartered accountant, via company secretary, etc. and need to pay the tax also by himself. Department will not come to you and ask you how much income you have earned, please pay tax. No, it's your liability that you have to pay the tax. You have to calculate your income, you have to calculate your tax, and of course, that person is coming to you. Why you are studying income tax? Understand, very, very important thing to understand. You are not studying these, you are not doing this course for yourself. You are doing CA course, okay? Understand, you are technically not studying for yourself. You are studying for the person who is technically not studying this course. For some doctor, because he's doing MBBS. So when he'll earn income, then he need to pay tax, then he will come to you. Okay, how I need to pay tax? If there is somebody, if you're some friend who is doing business, so you are studying for him because he is doing business, and after some time he'll come to you and ask, yeah, how I need to pay taxes, and you will charge fees for that. Fees. So whenever you are studying these books, do not take burden. Do not think that you are studying for yourself. Technically, we are studying for someone else, because if somebody is doing MBBS, then he is not technically doing MBBS for his operation, for his surgery. No, he's doing for us. If we are going to be sick, if we are going to have some accident, then we need to go to him and he will charge from us. In the same way, always understand this thing. These studies for not us. We are studying all this provision for someone else who is this time is doing something else. So we will charge for that. So each thing you are studying technically is your income. If you learn this provision, if you know how to calculate tax, that will give you income in future. So these all is money. Whatever I'm conveying you, what am I, the provision I'm trying to explain you, they are technically will be converted into money in future. Money and respect also, right? That is also very important. So the stages, that is declaration liability, say that every person who earn income in India need to declare his income himself via his financial consultant, of course, and need to pay tax. Stage one say this. Now the second stage is called assessment of liability. First one was declaration of liability and second one is assessment of liability. That means now whatever you have declared in stage one, now department will check or verify that your declaration is correct or not. First, you have the opportunity to declare whatever is your income, whatever is your tax. Now, the stage number two, now the department will find, now department will verify whether you have declared your liability correctly or not. How they will verify? They will check your transaction from your bank details. They will check the property you purchase, sale. There are a lot of things which department can check on. Or they can ask document from you also to verify whether the declaration made by you is correct or not. Now the third is recovery of tax. That is the result technically. So whatever you have declared, and after the verification, now the result will come that either you need to pay tax or you will get the refund. For example, let me explain you. If declaration of liability, assessee means the person who pay tax, etc. So if Mr. A declares liability rupees 2 lakh rupees tax, he said my tax liability for the year is 2 lakh, and Mr. A has paid that tax in declaration of liability. Point number one, stage one. Now department went for assessment of liability. Now department verify that is his declaration is correct or not. Now there will be three answers, of course. Whether department will say that your tax is technically higher what you have declared. That is, assume department says your tax liability is 250, not 2 lakh. Now you need to pay tax of rupees 50,000. Department will send a notice of demand that you need to pay tax 50,000 balance tax plus interest also. And if it's find that you have intentionally did that, intentionally escaped the tax, then penalty can also be imposed upon you. First case, that the demand will come. If the liability declared by you is less than what department has assessed, then you need to pay the balance tax plus interest plus penalty. The second scenario can be this: department say that your tax liability is only 180. You have paid 2 lakh wrongly. So we are going to refund your 20,000. In that case also department refund your 20,000 plus with interest. So department is very genuine. If you have paid less tax, they will ask the tax, they will ask for interest. If you have paid higher tax, then definitely department will refund it. Practically, they are going to refund it. Fine. It's not theoretical concept only. It's practically they'll refund you. And now, so if in online cases, you will get the refund in 3 or 4 days only, and with interest. The third case will be both will be same. Department say your tax liability also 2 lakh. And as per our calculation, that is also 2 lakhs. So in that case, there will be no refund. There will be no demand. So that's the third case. So that we call recovery of taxes. I hope it's clear. We are discussing each and everything in a very detailed manner, of course. First thing, say calculation of tax, deposit of tax, and filing of return of income to income tax department. Second is say verification or declaration of liability by department. Third is called technically tax payable or refundable. Now the chapter coverage, or the chapter we are actually going to discuss or we are discussing, they have a basic concept chapter, chapter 1, what we are discussing have these concepts. We need to cover all these topics. Now, one by one, we will take all these topics, that is components of income tax law that have 5 part, of course, income tax, annual finance act, etc. Steps for computation of total income. We need to going to discuss all these topics also. Important definition. We have almost 3 or 5 definitions to cover. And this is the last topic, that is basis of charge and rate of tax. That is the numerical part what we were discussing. We will discuss this later. The numerical concept will become at the last. So now before moving further, let me take the queries what you asked. Fine. One by one, I'll take your query. So, Pooja is saying, sir, I tried downloading the notes now, but it has not been uploaded yet, sir. Pooja, I have uploaded it yesterday. Please go to the Board of Study portal. You might be doing some mistakes. So, all students have already downloaded it. There must be some mistake on your part. So, please figure it out. Okay. Okay. Muskan is saying notes not available. Please go to the Board of Study portal, download the app, so you will get the notes. Fine. Okay, very huge chapter. Who is saying? Jarinder Kumar is saying very huge chapter. Yes, very huge, but not an issue. I am there, just relax. I'll explain you each and everything in a very interesting manner. Just relax. Just be with me. Just stay with the class. Just focus. All I'm asking from all of you, just focus during the class. Class will be interesting, and each and every concept you are going to learn in a very precise manner. That's my promise. Okay. Okay, Miss Riya Doshi saying, is income tax hard? No, it's nothing. Nothing is difficult. I'll explain you. It's not hard. Okay. Joshi is from Mumbai. Okay. Pooja, income tax, that is a provision of taxes levied. What it is, Pooja, please ask in detail. It's not a correct query, I guess. So, Mantanjali is asking, direct tax is that tax whose burden can't be shifted and paid by a person on whom it is levied. And direct tax is that tax whose burden can be shifted and can be borne by any other person. Very nice explanation. Exactly correct. Bang on. High five from Wi-Fi, Miss Matanjali. Okay. Moving on further, it will be an interesting subject. Vishal is asking, it will be the most interesting subject. I promise. Okay. Hard work and focus only needed. Yes, Pooja, only 2 things needed. Hard work and focus. That's it. You will be a chartered accountant. Okay. Pooja is asking, sir, why we need to pay tax on some communities even there is written inclusive of all taxes. No, if it has been written that it is inclusive of all taxes, then you need not to pay any further tax. The MRP is inclusive of each and every tax. Fine. Nobody can charge anything exceeding MRP. Okay, Rekha, why take too long? 14 years to introduce tax act in our country. Who says this, Rekha? I don't know from where you actually heard this. Who said it takes 14 years to introduce tax act in our country? That's wrong question. Okay, Vishal, sir, do we need to write what you are interpreting on board? No, you do not need to write. I am just explaining with the help of diagram because it will really help you what I am teaching actually. So all the provision have been written in the notes, but the diagram is technically help students to understand the concept in a very easy manner. And of course, if you want, you can take a screenshot. You do not need to make it. You can take you have a mobile, you can take a screenshot and take a printout. So it will be like this. And I already uploaded the important chart also. If you have downloaded the notes, you can see at the last, in the last, I have made almost 5 or 6 chart. Those are important topics. So that you do not need to again rewrite them, of course. Next, Pooja is saying, but the sir act name is 1961. The act name is 1961 because it has been amended. Majority amendment has been came in 1961. So the department say, let's make a new act. Like Companies Act was 1956. Now Companies Act is 2013. So 1956, there was an old Companies Act and there was a lot of amendment was that. The department think that we should make a new act. So they came with a new act, that is Companies Act 2013. The same way, there was old income tax also before this act, 1961 also. Prakashli, how to read and make notes from module? It's any way to utilize 100 of study module? That is your job. Who was that? Prakashli, you have to find the important things from the notes, from the chapter. You have to make short notes, diagram of the topic. That will really help you in the examination. Fine. Pooja is saying agriculture income tax law. Yes, you are correct. Agriculture income provision, taxability provision has been decided by the state and the other is central government. Okay, Amritpal Kaur is asking, do income tax act applicable to Jammu and Kashmir also? Yes, when we say it's applicable whole of India. Jammu Kashmir is a part of our India, of course, so it is applicable everywhere, including Jammu and Kashmir, of course. Authority means Mr. Ankit Yadav is asking, authority means the person who have the authority, the power, of course. The authority means the person who have power to do something. Fine. MCQ pattern, I will ask the question, then you can see what is the pattern of MCQ. Okay. Any other? Akshay Bhaya. Aksho Bhaya is asking, are there any disagreement between state and central? Yes, of course, there must be some conflict of interest or conflict of opinion between state or central, but they will decide it. That's not our part. We are focused on the income tax subject. What is the provision has been written in your study or in the notes? That is going to be explained. What is the conflict? How they resolve it? That's not our part. Okay. Pooja is asking how many numbers of power with the list. Please repeat again. You can look, we are on YouTube also. No? So you can scroll down back. You can scroll back to the video and you can find it out how many. Otherwise, you have Google. Fine. So there is not a question to be asked. How many matters in union list or concurrent list or state list? You can Google it. I told you that almost 97 in union list, 66 I guess in state, and 46 or 47 was in concurrent list. Okay. Okay. Why has the state government been empowered to tax only agricultural income? There's a political reason behind it. So we should not discuss it. Why state government has been given this right. Right? There is something else. And of course, that is not a part of our study topic also. We just need to understand state government has power to tax agriculture income and central government has power to tax other than agriculture. Why is a different matter, different political purpose, and we should not discuss it. Sir, it is really possible for department to verify income of all citizens from? No. Yeah, very good question. Is Nal Jayendra Kumar from Varanasi, UP. It is not practically possible to verify each and every citizen correct income. That is really difficult. Now it is that difficult that can be, like, if you understand, can your parents can find it out? Whatever activities you are doing in the whole day, that's very difficult. So, this country where we have 130 crores plus population, and out of which a lot of is also earning income. So, is everyone is technically paying tax correctly? That's practically not possible, but department is trying to cover this thing. With the help of GST, with the help of income tax, with the help of TDS concept, department is trying to do that. But practically it's not that easy because we have a lot of population to cover. Okay, so it's difficult, of course. Vishal Agarwal, sir, can a genuine excuse be given for wrong filing of return or directly an action will be taken upon me? It's a procedural part. It will depend upon the case of the fact. So that is not a correct question for our part. It will depend upon the fact of the cases. Case to case basis, if there is a genuine reason, if somebody is medically not well, etc., then it can be compromised. Okay, okay. Riya Doshi is asking, does IT department check the increase? They have software to check whether the tax has been increased from comparative to last year or decreased. So they have a particular software, and that software technically check every person ITR return the tax which they have filed. But those who are not technically paying the tax, there are a lot of persons who are not paying tax. To observe them, to find them, that is very difficult. The software cannot do that. Okay. Next is, what if someone earn an income but does not pay tax? So if government find that person, then government can recover tax, penalty, etc. And not only on that income, on previous incomes also. If government finds, okay. So do we have to write the notes given by you? No, of course not. You have the notes, you can take the printout, you can read it, and the notes are sufficient for the chapter. Each and everything is covered in the notes. They are more than sufficient, okay, because it's based upon your study material only. Okay, next is Kira. Okay, Keer Thana is asking, sir, what is mean by outstanding demand in income tax? If you have not paid tax or short paid tax, then the excess tax which government is going to ask, that's called tax demand or income tax demand. Okay. Notes are available, of course. Notes are available. It's available, of course. Tanishka is telling you those not able to find the notes. Tanishka is telling, actually, sir, notes on BOS app, but VCC website per note visible. Fine. So please download the BOS app. You will find out all the notes. Okay. Site, it's not going to on the site, but you need to download the BOS app. Yes, what I'm explaining you, that is comprehensive. That is including all the study material topic. You can, if you are able to cover the notes I'm providing you, that is sufficient. And if you want, you can also refer the study material. But almost they have same thing, same topics have been covered. Okay, next. Sir, is there having any chances tax is more and we pay taxes less? That will be a tax evasion. If you have technically tax liability high and if you pay less tax with unfair means, that is called tax evasion. Yes, but there are some things, there are some benefits you can avail with the help of tax planning with a good chart account, etc. And when you will learn the whole income tax, there are certain provisions, there are certain exemptions which department has been provided. So if you want, you can take the advantage of these benefits, and if, due to that benefit, you can technically decrease your tax liability. It is possible, of course, it is possible, fine. But you will get those things in later chapter like deduction, exemption, etc. It will take time. So have patience, have patience. Okay. Okay, MCQ came in exam, yes. So do we need to remember article number and section number? Sneha is asking, Sneha Sharma. Okay, Sharma ji, I'll tell you a very simple trick to learn all the sections. Just do not worry. Focus on the provision first, the section, how to learn section, how to remember them, how to learn those sectional tips. I have a trick. I'll explain you in our further classes. So just do not worry about it. I'll explain you. Just remind me after my 2 and 3 session. So I'll recall it and I'll let you know how to learn sections. Okay. Sumit Kumar is saying, sir, income tax is not hard, but CA course, nothing is hard in this word. Is very, very simple. Everything is simple. Just believe it. CA course is also very simple if you are going to do it with a systematic manner, with hard work, with sincerity. And I will let you know how it's simple. Okay, section, how you need to learn, I'll explain you. I just told it to Miss Sharma, whatever. Okay. Outstanding demand, I have explained to you. You all will get the good marks. Do not worry about it. Who is asking about the marks? Arshita Maurya, just do your work. Do not fear for marks. Do not think about the marks. The Gita says, na, karam karo karam. Just believe in your work, karma. Do your karma, do your best. Just give your best. And I promise your marks will be good. Just remember this thing. Okay. Ms. Karan is asking, hello sir, how exactly the tax department assess liability of a person? Because in general, not everyone shows their true income. So department randomly on the basis of some information. There are some information department collected on each person of our country. Like if you're buying a car, if you're buying a property, if you're dealing in shares, if you have a bank account. Department has eye on each and every transaction. You do not even know what department knows about you. So if he finds that if there is something which is unusual, then they can come to you, they can ask you notice, and we will discuss this topic also in the basic concept. There is a chapter, there is a topic, there is a concept in which you will find it out that how department can comes to you. How to get maximum marks in tax in every subject, you have to study hard. That's the only way. There's no shortcut. Okay. Okay. How many section? I'll let you know how to learn section. Do not worry about it, Mr. Ankit Gupta. Okay. Teaching style is superb. Dhanyavad. Thank you. Shukriya. Example of concurrent list I have explained. Please, you can scroll back the video and check it out, please. Okay. Manathi V is asking, sir, why agriculture income is set non-taxable? Because India is an agriculture-based country in which 70% employment comes from the agricultural part, of course. So, our 60 to 70 population belongs to the agriculture, rural area, agriculture part. So, department technically wants to exempt the farmers from the burden of tax. That's why there is no GST on them. There is no income tax on them. Okay, so they are the basic foundation of our country. They are preparing food for us. So that's why department does not want the tax burden upon those persons. MCQ pattern we will discuss before imposing penalty and recovery of tax. Say right to be heard is provided or not. Right to be heard will be provided, of course. Himanshu Gupta. Service society only, then why people escape from paying those taxes? People are like that. Okay. I am just taking the queries which are relevant for topic. Some students are asking topic how tax will be recovered, why people are doing that. So I am skipping it because we have to cover a huge topic, huge chapter. So just focus on the topic what we are discussing. Okay. Good evening. Okay. Good evening. So do we need to remember every section? Doubt clear. Sir, income tax and by a person who is not adult is he should pay to tax? Yes. Ritik Jana is Mr. Ritik Jana is asking. Any income earned by a person is not adult. Even minor need to pay tax also. In our country, every person need to pay taxes, even minor also. So if there's some person who is not an adult, who is a minor, is earning income, then he also liable to pay tax, but through his parents. He is not going to pay tax himself. He will pay tax by his parents or guardian, of course. Provision or can we explain our own language? Okay, that the how to write an examination, how to learn section, that is a separate topic. I will tell you this topic in separate class, of course. So let me discuss the query related to our topic, what we just discussed yet. All amendments are included? Yes. Okay, nothing is impossible. Okay, role of income tax would in our inter-level. Whole of income tax including, not included in your income tax level. The whole income tax will be included in your final level. That is a part of income tax. Certain chapters have been included, but there are certain advanced chapters that will be covered in your final level, of course. Jayendra Kumar, sir, our neighborhood used to inform Department for Income of Individual get reward for that information from Banarasi. Yes, income tax provide 10% of tax recovered. If you inform the income tax department about the income of some other person who is not paying tax, then department give you reward, and that is approximately 10% of the amount of tax collected. Okay. If agriculture income is free from tax, then what does state government collect? State government does not collect tax on agriculture income. State government tax municipal taxes, etc., road taxes, a lot of taxes department, state government collect, except income tax on agricultural. Okay, so I have taken all the queries. There were almost 100 queries, so I have taken all the queries. Moving on to the notes, we will have a break after 15 or 20 minutes. So now overview of income tax law in India. So back to our notes. And I just told you that now we will take the basic concept one by one. So there are some very topic which is just going to read it. They are nothing technical, but we need to understand. So those topic I am going to read. The first is components of income tax law. So there are total 5 components of income tax law. We will discuss it one by one. In this material, we would be introducing the students to the income tax law in India. The income tax law in India consists of the following components. First is Income Tax Act, that is 1961. Second is Annual Finance Act, the Annual Finance Act. So for our examination, the Finance Act, the budget what we are talking, is applicable 2021 budget. And recently, there is budget 2022 has been presented in the Parliament. That is applicable for May 23 and November 23 examination. For May 22 and November 22 examination, the budget is applicable, which has been presented in 2021. Okay. So which Finance Act we are learning? The Finance Act 2021 provision we are discussing. Fine. So one thing is Income Tax Act. One thing is Annual Finance Act. The third is income tax rules. The other thing is circulars and notifications. And the last thing, which technically a components of income tax law, is legal decisions of courts. These 5 things are for just knowledge purpose. I'm not saying you should not read it. You should learn it, but that is not, nothing is technical there. There's pure theoretical concept. We are going to read it. The levy of income tax in India is governed by the Income Tax Act 1961. In this book, we shall briefly refer to this act. It extends to whole of India. It came into force on 1st April 1962. It contains from section 1 to 298. I can ask you in this MCQ, how many section Income Tax Act have? Okay. And schedule 1 to 14. A section may have subsection or clauses and subclauses. Of course, charging section of income tax. Section 4 is the charging section of income tax. Now, charging section is the characteristic section of anything. So now we are studying the charging section of income tax. That means it's a characteristic section of income tax. And it has 3 main characteristics. The first is income tax is an annual charge on income. What is the meaning of word annual? Annual means yearly. Like our birthday. Our birthday comes yearly. If it is not on 29th of February, then our birthday comes once in a year. Like Deepavali. It's an annual festival. Like Holi. It's an annual festival. Like Eid. No, it's not an annual because it comes twice in a year. Like Navratri, it comes twice in a year. So income tax is an annual charge. But that means it needs to be paid annually. There are some cases of TDS, etc. TDS, advanced tax, in which cases it need to pay quarterly, etc. or monthly. Fine. That is not going to be discussed now. The basic concept say that income tax is an annual charge on income. It should be paid annually. How? Let me tell you how. For example, there is Mr. Ram. Suppose Mr. Ram earned income in first year. He starts some business. In the first year of business, he earned income of rupees 10 lakh. So he needs to pay the tax on that. But Mr. Ram say, no, this year I am busy. I am not able to pay tax. I will pay tax next year. Fine. In second year, he earned 15 lakh rupees income. Did not pay tax in this year also. He say, I will pay tax in the third year. In third year, he earned income of 20 lakh rupees. He said, oh, okay, this is the last year. I'll surely pay the tax in the fourth year. In fourth year, he again earned 20 lakh rupees income. Now he say, yes, now in this year, I am ready to pay tax. Now I am ready to pay tax on all income. So total income is 40, 50, 60 and 65 lakh rupees. He say, okay, now I'll pay tax on this whole income in the fourth year. And because I am late, so I'll pay interest also because these 3-year income tax has been paid in fourth year. So I'll pay interest on this income plus tax, of course, and tax also. So he is not technically escaping the tax. He is not technically escaping the tax because he was busy, so he was not able to pay tax. But in the fourth year, he's paying tax on whole 65 lakh rupees and interest also. But there is a problem. The problem is because charging section says that income tax is an annual charge. You cannot pay it combined. You cannot combine some year incomes and going to pay tax combined. That is not allowed. So in this case, Mr. Ram technically violated the charging section because charging section says no, you need to pay tax every year. So he is paying tax. He is paying interest also, but technically he violated the charging section. And what happens when law violates? When law violates, there comes penalty also. So he need to pay tax, he need to pay interest, he need to pay penalty also, which can be 100% of tax, or it can be 300% of tax also, minimum and maximum. So whatever tax liability is on 65 lakh rupees, that is tax he needs to pay, interest needs to pay, and minimum. If the tax liability assume 20 lakh rupees, then at least 20 lakh rupees penalty, or the penalty can be imposed up to 60 lakh rupees also. So that need to be paid by Mr. Ramos. So that's why it's saying it's an annual charge. You need to pay tax annually. You cannot combine it and pay later. It's not allowed. That was the first point of that section, which says income tax is an annual charge on income. It is an annual charge. Tax shall be charged at the rates prescribed for the year by the Annual Finance Act or the Income Tax Act 1961 or both. The second is income of previous year will be assessed in the next year, and that is assessment year. These two are the very important word, very important word, I must say. Why? Because these words you are going to listen thousands of times in this income tax chapter. What is the meaning of previous year and assessment year? Let's discuss it. And please be focused because this is a very important topic, very important concept for your further studies. So there is previous year and there is assessment year. For your examination purpose, previous year is 21-22 and assessment year is 20-23. When I say 21-22, that means I am talking about the duration of time is this. It starts from 1st April 21 and will end on 31st March 22. So if I'm saying previous year 21-22, that means I am talking about this time duration. That's 1 year. Fine. There is no concept of calendar year under income tax. There is a financial year which is being described as previous year and assessment year. Now what previous year says? Previous year says this duration, if you earn any income, from 1st April 2021 up to 31st March 22, then tax need to be paid in the next year. And that is called your assessment year. When I'm saying assessment year is 20-23, that means the year started after previous year. That is from 1st April 22 till 31st March 23. This duration is for 22 and 23. So what I am trying to convey you is this. There is 2 years. One is called previous year. Other is called assessment year. Previous year 21-22 means the duration, that is April 21 till 31st March 22. And after that, the April 22 till 31st March 23, that is called assessment year. Now what will happen in assessment year? Whatever income you will earn in previous year, that means in this duration, government will not come to you for tax. Government says whatever you earn during 21-22, you need to pay tax of that income in the next year. That is called assessment year. So whatever income I have earned from 21-22, you need to pay tax of that income in the next year. That means 22-23. For example, if I'll say that Mr. A earned 20 lakh rupees in 21-22, then the tax upon this year you need to pay in the next year, that is 22-23. That's why we can say previous year also like earning year. We can take a name of this previous year also like earning year, and we can say assessment year is like it is a taxing year. So 20 lakh rupees if earned in 21-22, then the tax of that income need to be paid tax in the next year, that is called assessment year. The word assessment means to verify, to assess, to check, to collect, etc. So department will collect tax or you need to pay tax in the next year, that is called assessment year. For example, for now, today is 11th May 2022. If I got a lottery, I won a lottery of 10 lakh rupees today. If I know that's not going to happen, of course, but if me or you won a lottery of 10 lakh rupees, then we need not to pay tax on that 10 lakh rupees in this year. We need to pay tax on this 10 lakh rupees income in the next year. Why? Because now if in 22-23, in this duration, if somebody earn 15 lakh rupees, now understand, if we earn anything in 21-22, 20 lakh rupees, we need to pay tax of that 20 lakh in 22-23. But if you earn income in 22-23, say 15 lakh rupees, now this 22-23 will be called previous year for this 15 lakh. And we need to pay tax on this 15 lakh rupees income in the assessment year, which will be now called 23-24. So on this 15 lakh rupees income, tax need to be paid in the next year. That will be called assessment year for this 15 lakh rupees income. That is 23-24. Now suppose in 23-24, now there's a question for you all. Listen it carefully. Now suppose if somebody earned 30 lakh rupees in 23-24, then what will be called the previous year for this 30 lakh rupees and what will be called the assessment year for this 30 lakh rupees? So I am waiting for your answers. Please write the city from where you are giving your answer. So the question is, if somebody earned income of rupees 30 lakh in 23-24, then what will be called the previous year for this 30 lakh rupees and what will be called the assessment year for this 30 lakh rupees? So I am waiting for your answer and I hope you will answer correct. After completing this charging section provision, I'll give you a break for 5 minutes, then we will resume, of course. But before that, you need to answer me. You need to complete previous year assessment year and the third point also. Okay, Nipun Gupta, please write your city also. That will be really make me feel better, of course, when I came to know from where you are, of course. Nitin Gupta say previous year, okay. Anyone else? 23-24, assessment year 24-25. Pooja, I was asking about the year. Why you are explaining in the theoretical? I just asked, please write down the year. Okay. Okay. S. Naga Pratyusha said 23-24, 24-20 assessment year. Okay. Hitesh is also there. Very good. When Hitesh is saying, Hitesh, you actually not correct. 22-23 previous year you wrote down. That is incorrect actually. Nipun is from Delhi. Wow, Delhi, good. Mukta Vyas is 23-24, 24-25. Milton, of course, 2024, 24-25. Okay. Patna, 23-24, 24-25 assessment year, correct. Madhya Pradesh from Patna, that was Shrin Jani Sinha. Ritika Verma from Madhya Pradesh, 2024, 2025. Okay, Tanishka Agarwal is also correct. Naveen Kumar Reddy saying tax payment last date for assessment year. No, there is certain dates, prescribed date. You will going to study in the other chapter also. So wait for that. I'm just asking about the year, not the date. Okay. Himanshu Gupta from Delhi is also correct, sir. Shruvarshin is also correct. Rekha is also correct. Very good. Pooja from Delhi is correct. Assessment year. Yes, again, Paramjeet Kaur from Punjab is also correct. Ritika Jain is correct. Very nice. Akanshil, you all are not sleeping. You all are hearing me. That's very good. A teacher feel really proud if the students are attentive. Not proud technically, very enjoy the company if the students are technically participate in these things. So whatever faculty you are taking classes, so for definitely you should active the whole time. You should of course the answer what the faculty is asking, because that will encourage the faculty. They'll more involved with your study. They'll try more hard for the betterment of you. So please always attentive in the class. And it's very nice. Afreen Khan from Mumbai is correct. Priyansh is also correct. Rajasthan Kota Garbit is also correct. Very nice. Faridabad and Nikesh Srivastav is correct. Okay, fine. So correct answer is of course you all are right. Very nice. Clapping for you. High five from Wi-Fi. And this is previous year will be 23-24 and assessment year will be of course 24-25. In the same way, if I'm saying that 20 lakh was earned in 21-22 in the previous year. So previous year for this 20 lakh was 21-22. In the same way, in 21-22, we need to pay tax. That means 21-22 will also be assessment year for which year? 20-21. So if we earn 20 lakh in previous year 21-22, for which tax need to be paid in 22-23. In the same way, in 21-22, we are also paying tax on which year income? If any income has been earned, for assume we earn 8 lakh rupees in 20-21. So technically we are paying tax in 21-22 as an assessment year of its previous year. So what I'm trying to convey is this: every year is a previous year. Every year is a previous year for the income earned in that year. And every year is an assessment year for the year, the income earned in the preceding year. So the preceding year, this year is a assessment year, and the income earned in this year, for that income, it is a previous year. Okay. Now, the third is very, very, very important. It says income tax is charged on every person. So if you want to escape, if you want to avoid income tax, there's a very simple tax planning which I'm going to tell you in the first session. You can avoid the whole income tax, if you are going to avoid the definition of a person. In our country, income tax is charged on only if you fall in the definition of a person. So if you are not a person, if it does not cover in the definition of person, that means you not need to pay any tax in India ever. Understand? So now you must be thinking, what is the definition of person? You all must be thinking, what is the definition of person? How we can escape it? So if you will come to know how to escape this definition, then you can run to your dad now and you can say, Dad, I can escape your whole income tax. So even I'm doing CA, this is my first class, but I can technically going to escape all your income tax. And that is also officially, formally, no evasion, no tax evasion. So if you are a person, if your parents, if your dad, if the person who is earning income, if that person can avoid the definition of person as per income tax, then there is no need to pay tax. So now everybody must be thinking, what is the definition of a person? So we will discuss it. The definition of person will come, of course, in the definition section. We'll discuss it today only, of course. So the first part was that the income tax act. Now we're moving on to the finance act. Okay, fine. Before moving to the finance act, let's take a break of 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we will resume. You can have your tea, coffee, drink, cold drink, whatever you want, and then we will get back to you after 5 minutes. Okay. So, Mr. Ram, we will go for a break of 5 minutes. Mr. Ram, are you there? Okay. Okay. What is the meaning of person? You will discuss it, student. Just have patience. Okay, Mr. Ram, टेक्निकल टीम कहाँ गई हमारी? We call a technical team for the break. Have patience, students. What's the meaning of person? Don't get that much impatient. We will discuss it. Okay, welcome back, students. So I hope you must have taken your tea, coffee, cold drink, etc., etc. And moving further, we need to discuss these things. Before that, further we move on to the Finance Act or income tax rules. Let me ask one question. Whatever we study today, whatever like the basic concepts, the concept of income tax, the origination, the charging section, etc. So, were you able to understand the concept we just discussed yet? Now, there's a very interesting story. Initially, I was telling you that income tax or CA course is easy. Why I was telling you that? Let me tell you a very interesting, a very real story. I always discuss this story with my each session whenever I interact with the students, and it's very, very inspiring also. And might be some of you will understand what I'm trying to convey. The story is like this: that Albert Einstein, you know Albert Einstein, the greatest scientist of all time, right? Albert Einstein. What happened? He once said to his accountant, and it is a real incident. The real incident I am telling you, it's technically a real incident, what actually happened. So Albert Einstein tells to his accountant that the most difficult subject in this world is income tax. Now imagine what Einstein has said, that the most difficult subject in this world is income tax. So the person who invents so many things, and practically the IQ level, highest IQ level person we know, that is Einstein. So he said that income tax is the most difficult subject in this world. So he was not able to understand the concept of charging section, assessment year, previous year, person, evaluation, origination of income tax. What you are able to understand, he was not able to understand. What does it means? It means that you have the better IQ level than Einstein, and I am the teacher of income tax, the faculty. So I have much more great, higher IQ level than Albert Einstein. Is it like this? No, don't even think about it. It's not possible because he's the Albert Einstein. We are just below, of course, IQ level in comparison to him. Then why he said that? The person who has invented a lot of things, he said the income tax is the most difficult subject. Why he said that? Because he thinks income tax is difficult because he does not have any interest in income tax. He had interest in inventions, science, etc. So he does not have any interest in income tax. That's why he finds that thing difficult. So whatever things we do not have interest. We find them difficult, boring, etc. Like your parents ask you to go to some for some puja and satsang, etc. So we will find it so boring. So that's we do not have any interest, and we will find it so difficult to sit there because we do not have any interest. And if your parents say let's go to a party or movie, etc. So we can do that. Even we are so tired, etc. Still we can do that because we have interest in that. So if someone has interest in dancing, he or she find it very easy. And if somebody do not have interest in dancing, like Sunny Deol, etc., they find it so difficult that the most difficult thing in this world is dancing because they do not have interest. So the whole scenario is all about interest. If you have interest in a study in any subject, you will find it easy. That's a surety. You can experience this thing also, that when you are in school, there must be some subject in which you are good, and there might be some subject in which you are not so good. You're not getting good marks. Why? Because you do not have interest in those subjects. In the subject you have interest, whether it's music, whether it's computers, whether it's English, literature, Hindi, whatever it is. If you have interest, you'll find it easy always. It's happening. It happened with you. It happened with me also. In the same way, in this CA course also, if you're saying income tax is difficult, that means you do not have interest in it yet. If you find accounts difficult, that means you do not have interest in this because nothing is difficult. Our human brain is so brilliantly designed that technically scientists said that if we working on our full capacity, We can learn each and every book of this word in this word by word of word. Each word of every book which is available in this whole world, we can learn it. Our brain is that powerful. We are using only 2 or 10% of our brain power, and that's 2 and 10%. We can create a rocket, we can go to moon. Human brain is that powerful. And you think that study, accounts difficult, law difficult, tax difficult, this difficult, nothing is difficult. So those students were asking, sir, income tax is difficult. I'm answering to you, nothing is difficult. Just your brain is that much powerful. You just need to have some confidence, and you should understand you should not fear of any subject. If you will fear from any subject, you will find it difficult. Find the right guidance. Give your more time to any subject in which you think you are weak. You find any subject difficult, you have to give more time. You have to find some other way. You have to make short notes, diagram. You have to consult with your friends, etc. Give extra time, refer other questions, etc. You have to do that, and you will find if you create interest in your any subject, you're able to create interest in anything. You can personally judge this thing. Your parents ask you for a party and you are tired, badly tired, even you will easily go on to the party. In other ways, if they are asking for some other work which you're not interested, you find it most difficult. So if you have interest, you can learn or do anything. So believe your brain is that intelligent. When Einstein said that I believe that income tax is the most difficult subject, that means he do not have interest in that. That's why he said that. So if we are able to understand the income tax, that means we are not great than Einstein, but we have interest in that subject. That's why we are all here. Now the problem is this: how we will create interest in our study. I have also the trick to create interest of some of you, of course, or everyone. If you understand what I'm trying to convey to you, then you can create interest in your study, whether it's income tax, accounts, or each or any subject. And if you will start creating interest in your study, my dear students, I'm telling you, the CA course or any subject, you will find it very, very, very easy. The whole concept is all about interest. So try to create interest, and how to create interest, I'll talk about it in our next session, of course. Let's move on to the notes. The finance sect, I have told you that the components of income, income tax law we are discussing. First was income tax. We have just discussed it with the charging section. Now annual finance act, that means our budget. Of course, every year the finance minister of the government of India introduced the finance bill in the parliament. Of course, we are talking about the budget, and the budget 2021 we are discussing. Okay, you can read it. It's very simple. Now the income tax rules, the administration of direct tax is looked after by the Central Board of Direct Taxes. CBDT is the highest authority of income tax. So the CBDT is empowered to make rules for carrying out the purpose of the act. For the proper administration of the Income Tax Act 1961, the CBDT frames rules from time to time. These rules are collectively called the Income Tax Rules 1962. Okay. Now circulars and notification. We have the act, we have the rules, we have the finance act. Now we have circulars and notification. So department, the CBDT things, there needs to be something need to be amended or deleted or modified. Then they can issue circular to the department, to the officers. And the officers need to bound by it. They have to follow the circulars. Circulars are issued by the CBDT from time to time to deal with certain specific problems and to clarify doubts regarding the scope and meaning of certain provision of the act. Circulars are issued for the guidance of the officers and or assessee. The department is bound by the circular. The department officer needs to follow it. While such circulars are not binding on the assessee, they can take advantage of beneficial circulars like extension of due date of ROI, extension of tax or return filing date, etc. They are called circulars, and the department officer needs to comply that. They are bound to follow it. But assessee is not bound to follow it. You can follow whatever you want. If there's any beneficial circular, you can take the advantages. Notification is slightly different from the circular. Notifications are issued by the central government, where circulars are issued by the CBDT for the departmental officer and the internal work, of course. But the notification has more power because it is issued by the central government to give effect the provision of the act. The CBDT is also empowered to make and amend rules for the purpose of the act by issue of notification, and notifications are binding on both department and the assessor. The basic difference between the circulars and notifications: circulars are only binding upon the department, etc., officers, but the notifications are binding on both assessee as well as the department. Case laws, definitely the circular, the notification, the rules, the act is not able to give solution for each and every aspects of the income tax provisions. There are certain questions which emerge, which comes into the picture on the case, on the different kind of cases, on the case to case basis in the future. When the dispute arises, there might be different kind of questions or queries which has not been explained in the act, rules, circular, notification. In that case, the case goes to the department, the courts, and the court will decide, and whatever the court decides, that needs to be followed by the department as well as the assessor. Case laws refer to decision given by the courts. The study of case law is an important and unavoidable part of the study of income tax law. It is not possible for Parliament to conceive and provide for all possible issues that may arise in the implementation of an act. Hence, the judiciary will hear the disputes between the assessee and the department and give decisions on various issues. The Supreme Court is the apex court, of course, of the country, and the law laid down by the Supreme Court is the law of land. The decisions given by various high courts will apply in the respective states in which such high courts have jurisdiction. Case laws are dealt with at the final levels. At inter level, the case laws are not that important, not relevant. So it will be dealt in final level. Right? Format: calculation of gross total income and total income. So now it comes with a slightly numerical part, which is gross total income and total income. So what exactly gross total income and total income? So our incomes technically comprise 5 kinds of income. One is salary income. We have separate chapter of each head of income. One is salary. One is business and profession. One is capital gain. That means profit on sale of asset. If you have any profit on sale of asset or loss on sale of asset, that will be dealt in capital gain head. We call them salary head income, business and profession head income, capital gain head income. Then house property. That is rental income from a building. If you have a building and if you have a rental income, that will fall in house property head. You will be going to learn all these things in respective chapters, which will come one by one. And all the income will form part of income from other sources, like bank income, dividend income, any other income, other sources. Right? So the total of these 5 head of income, the total of these 5 head income is called gross total income. The total of these 5 heads will be called gross total income. Now, out of this gross total income, we need to deduct deductions, which fall under section 80C to 80U. And before the deduction, there is a concept of clubbing. Gross total income also include the concept of clubbing plus set of provision. These are also separate topic. We are not going to discuss it over here because there's separate detailed huge topic. So I cannot explain what is the meaning of clubbing over here or set off or heads of income. I'm just trying to tell you the format which we are going to discuss from the notes. So these 5 head income total is called gross total income, correct? After the effect of clubbing and set of provision. Then there are deductions which are going to be deducted out of that gross total income. And after deduction from 80C to 80U, we will have our total income. Total income taxable income or income chargeable to tax. The total income is the income on which tax need to be imposed. Understand? So we have gross total income. How we calculate gross total income? 5 head of income total, give the effect of clubbing provision and set of provision. After that, we need to deduct deduction from section 80C to 80U. And after that, we will have our total income, which is chargeable to tax. Clear? So on which income tax need to be paid? On gross total income or total income? The correct answer is total income. That is the income on which tax need to be paid. So here is the format for your preparation: calculation of gross total income and total income. Taxable income formula: taxable income, gross total income minus deduction. Here is the format I have already made for you. At salary, house property, business, capital gain, other source, each head income will be calculated after exemption, allowances, deduction. What are the meaning of exemption, allowances, deduction? That also going to be discussed with each head of chapter. Then we will have gross total income, that is after clubbing and set of provision. Then we need to deduct deductions, and now we will have income, taxable income or income chargeable to tax. Now the process to calculate gross total income and total income, there are series of process, there are series of transactions, there are series of steps we can say to calculate the final tax liability. And it starts from step number 1. The step number 1 is determination of residential status. If you are a resident, you need to pay tax in a different manner. If you are a non-resident, there are separate provisions. Initially, if there is Mr. Ram and I need to calculate tax on Mr. Ram income, then the first thing I need to ask Mr. Ram is step number 1. Whether you are a resident of India or not a resident of India. What is the meaning of resident or non-resident? We will discuss in chapter number 2. That will be session number 3. Fine. So that will discuss what is the meaning of residential status. What I am trying to convey you is this. If there is a person in front of you and he's asking, please calculate my tax, then what the first step you need to ask him or calculate for him? That is determination of his residential status. How we do that, we will discuss in chapter number 2. Second step. After that, we will find his income. I have just told you head of income is 5 head of income. How many head of income he have actually? Salary, house property, business, capital gain, others. Then I'll find it out the income of these heads, and I explained you in a very short form also. We have the chapter of these income also, but I'm trying to explain it in a short so you understand what is the meaning of each head of income. Salary income means when there is somebody employing an employee relation exists. If Mr. A doing job in Reliance company, so payment from Reliance company to Mr. A will fall as salary income of Mr. A. That is the character of salary income. Clear? It's simple. Next step. Second one, income from house property. I just told you if you have a building and you getting rent for that building, that is called your income from house property. Mr. Sudeep let out his building to Mr. Vinod. So now Mr. Sudeep will get rent from Mr. Vinod, and that rent will be treated as income from house property. So these kind of income is called income from house property. I have told you we have full chapter of these each topic, point 1, 2, 3, everything. Fine. Business and profession income with Mr. B is a shopkeeper and generate net profit of rupees 8 lakh. Now this income will be treated as his business income. Simple. Next. Now profession, when you are a doctor, you are a CA, that is your professional income. If Mr. A CA in practice generate 20 lakh surplus from his practice work, then it will be treated as professional income and will be included in PGBP head. PGBP is the short form of income under the head profit and gain of business and profession. That is mean business and profession. But if Mr. A is doing job in as a CA in Tata company, then he will get salary, and that will be going in salary head. Now capital gain, that is income from transfer of capital asset like jewelry, house, land, etc. If you have an asset and if you transfer it, then the income will be called as capital gain. If Mr. W sold his house, jewelry, land, shares, painting, drawing, etc. and then profit, that is called capital gain income. Those income does not fall in above category will be treated as your income from other sources. That's dividend, bank income, lottery income, etc. So after calculating income of each head, after giving the respective exemption, deduction of expenses, etc., we will find out the income of person of each head. Then we will combine all those head income. Step 3 say income is to be computed in accordance with the provision governing a particular head of income. Agriculture income, these income have to be excluded and will not form part of total income. Some agriculture income is taxable, some is exempted, etc. That we will also discuss in chapter number 3. It has been written chapter 3, which will tell those income which are not taxable, those are exempted income. Then the deductions will be there. Deductions are two types. One deductions which is relevant to specific head, and other deduction is from 80C to 80U. So now we are talking about the deduction of respective head. Like we have deduction under income from house property also, deduction from business head also. So we need to deduct first those deduction, those belong to a certain head. So do not get confused. Do not take tension about what is a deduction. You might be thinking, oh, what is this? Just relax. These deductions, these concepts will be discussed in detail one by one in the respective heads. And just telling you the specific format. That if somebody is in front of you, you need to calculate his tax. You need to ask what is your residential status, how many head income you have earned, what are the deduction, exemption, etc. Fine. So these are deductions and allowances prescribed under each head of income, like income from house property have certain deduction, etc. Then the clubbing of income. And then I'll ask that person, how many income you have clubbed of your spouse, minor child, etc. We have separate chapter number 5 for this, of course. Then we will apply step number 6, that is set off and carry forward. That is our chapter number 6 again. Then the final result after clubbing and set off, that is called computation of gross total income. All 5 head plus clubbing plus set off provision. That will calculate now gross total income. After gross total income, I have told you deductions we need to deduct, and that will come our total income. This is the income, step number 9. That is the income need to be taxed. And it should be rounded off the nearest multiple of 10 rupees as per section 288A. Now on that income, as per step number 10, we will apply rate of taxes. Rate of taxes is the part of only our basic concept chapter. So step number 10, then the provision of surcharge, rebate 10, 11. That will be discussed in this chapter only later. In our session number 2, we will discuss how to calculate tax upon total income. Health and education cess, that is also be discussed in this chapter only. Step number 13, that is advance tax and tax deducted at source. Again, that is a separate chapter. Chapter number 9 will discuss about it. Step number 14, that is tax payable and tax refunded. Now we are coming on to the important definition. So what we just discussed about above, those all steps going to be discussed one by one in different chapter, except the step number, that is 10, 11 and 12. That we will discuss in this chapter only. All the step from point number 1 to point number 14 will be discussed later in your syllabus in respective chapters. Important definition is an important part of our basic concept. So few minutes before, we discussed about the charging section, section 231. Section number 4, and which says the third point, that income tax charged on every person. And I was telling you that if you do not fall in the definition of person, then you need not to pay any tax in our country. So we all were very eager, very technically curious to know what is the definition of person. So where is the definition of person? Section 231. And person includes, there are 8 categories in which person's definition has been prescribed. So if you do not fall in any of these 8 categories, first is individual, second is Hindu undivided family, association of person, body of individual, partnership, firm, limited liability partnership, company, local authority, and artificial judicial person. So if we do not fall in any of these categories, then what will happen? Then we do not need to pay any tax in our country. We can have money in our pocket. We can walk in front of income tax department and we can say to the income tax commissioner, look, I do not fall in these categories, so I have money, but you cannot take tax out of me. But to understand how to avoid this definition, we have to learn each point one by one. But there's a problem. The problem is this, it's a big problem. You all might be thinking, yes, we need to avoid this definition. We need to convey this to our father, mother, etc. That yes, you can avoid tax. Let's walk in front of income tax commissioner and say, himmat hai to lekar dikhao tax. Catch me if you can. Okay, fine. So, but there is a problem, and the problem is this. The individual means has been explained. The Hindu undivided family means has been explained. Association of person mean explained. Body of individual definition we have. Partnership firm, company, local authority. We have definition of from point number 1 to point number 7 of each category. One by one, it is in the notes. One by one, we will discuss all these definition, individual, HUF, etc. But the problem is this: the 8th point, which is artificial judicial person. So we have definition of individual. I can escape the definition of individual, HUF, association of person. I can escape all 7 definitions. This can be done. But the 8th point definition is like this. If you do not fall in the above 7 category, listen it carefully. If you do not fall in the above 7 category, then you will be treated as artificial judicial person. Gone. Gone. Understand? Either you will fall from category 1 to 7. Either you have been individual or HUF, etc., etc., etc. But if you are not falling from category 1 to 7, then 8th says, those do not fall. 8th do not have any definition. 8th is just like that. Those do not fall in above 7 will be called artificial judicial person. What does it mean? It means that you cannot avoid this definition. Nobody can avoid this definition. So either you will fall in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 category, or if you avoid all these 7, then you are going to fall in the category of 8 automatically. So the dreams has been broken. The imagination is going to be stopped. That you can walk in front of income tax commissioner saying that catch me if you can. You can't do that. Do not dare to do that. Okay, in any scenario, do not try to do this thing. So do not go to dad. Do not go to mom. Don't tell them that I can escape your income tax. No, because if you tell them, that's not possible. Practically, it's impossible to avoid this definition. Now, what we will do, now we will discuss definition, each definition one by one. The first one is individual. It's the most simple definition and very easy to understand also. Let me explain with the help of a simple question. Individual means if you have income, if there is some income, and if you are the single owner, if somebody is the single owner of any income, then he or she will be called under income tax as individual. The taxes provision as per individual will be applicable on he or she. For example, there is, Mrs. Ankita. She is doing job and she is earning 10 lakh rupees as salary. Now, who is the legal owner of that income? Of course, Mrs. Ankita is the legal owner of that income. So technically, she is the only legal owner of that income. So she will be called an individual. She will be treated as an individual for the purpose of income tax provision under Income Tax Act. So she will be fall in the definition of individual because She is the individual owner of that income. Now, for example, there is Mr. Ram who is doing some business and he's the proprietor and he's earning net profit of 20 lakh rupees from that business. So because he's a proprietor, so he's the legal owner of that income. Mr. Ram is the single legal owner of that income. So that means he'll also be treated as an individual under income tax. On rupees 20 lakh, he needs to pay tax as an individual. Now, what if Mr. Ram had Mr. Raman as his partner? They created a partnership firm. Mr. Ram has now 99% profit sharing ratio. Mr. Ravan is only 1%. So now this net profit, 20 lakh rupees, has two owners. Now that is not only one owner, even it's for 1%, but now this income has two owners. One is for 1%, one is for 99%. So if any income has more than one owner, then it will not form in the category of individual. Now it will be category in partnership firm, etc. They can create a company also, they can become a shareholder also. Again, if they become shareholder, again that income has more than one owner. So if there is any income which has more than one owner, then in that case, individual category cannot be applicable. That can be a partnership firm, company, anything, but it cannot be individual. So what is the meaning of individual? If there is some income and there is only a single legal owner of that income, then that person will fall in the category as individual. Understand? Simple. Einstein was not able to understand this. If there is Einstein is taking my classes somewhere, imagine. Then he will write it to my query section, sir, I don't understand anything. And why it will happen? Because he does not have interest in income tax. He might be thinking about something else, some invention. And if parents say, no, do chartered accountant course. And what will happening? He might not getting anything. So if someone of you is not understanding what I am trying to convey you, that means you might not interested in this studies part, what we are discussing. So create your interest. And how to create, I'll tell you. Don't worry, I have also that also. But you just need to follow what I am trying to say. If you follow that things, what I am trying to convey you will definitely have interest in study. You will definitely improve your studying skill. You will definitely improve your marks and you will be a chartered accountant very, very soon. And this profession is a beautiful profession, I am telling you. And if I can be chartered accountant, anybody can be chartered accountant. There is no intelligence criteria. I am the living example of this. I am telling you. I'll tell you my story. You will be tears in your eyes. Not regarding any sad story, but that about the intelligence. The technically one misconception is there that only intelligent students can do this course. No, you just need to be sincere, hard worker, and focused. If you are like that, even an average or below average student can do this course in minimum time, the shortest duration what you have. I was the youngest chartered accountant of my time who pursued this course after graduation. I did this course after graduation, after my BCom. So at that time, I was the youngest who completed this course. I was like, I don't know. So if I can be a chartered accountant, so I believe any one of you, if you are thinking this is a difficult course, it's not a difficult course. You might not be going to a right track. You are not technically doing the right thing. Just follow some things what I'm trying to convey you during the classes that create interest. Make a plan, make a schedule, make a proper schedule of your study, and there is proper guidance. If you feel some subject difficult, you have to make extra effort. You cannot avoid any subject or chapter. What we do till 12th, if this chapter is difficult, let's escape it, do other chapters correctly. No. If in chart accountant course you do this, that you escape any chapter, and suppose what happen if 20 marks question is coming from that chapter only, that will be a disaster. Understand? So okay, fine, so let's move on to the notes. So individual definition is over here. Individual means any single human being, in other words, where there is only one owner of the income, he or she. is called individual under income tax. It includes both males and females, of course. It also includes a minor or a person of unsound mind, but the assessment in such a case may be made on the guardian or manager of the minor or lunatic who is entitled to receive his income. So even a minor need to pay tax, but through their guardian. In the case of deceased person who have died, of course, assessment would be made on the legal representative. Somebody has passed on, then the legal representative will be treated as individual and assessment will be done on that person. Now, second and the most interesting, or we can say interesting as well as important, as well as worthy definition is Hindu undivided family. And I can assure you, after completing this definition, some of you might be going to be the owner of lakhs of rupees or might be crores of rupees. You might not know till now that how much money or property you have. If you are a Hindu, this is only applicable on Hindu families. Let me tell you, this is only applicable on Hindu families. So those students belong to a Hindu family, Hindu as well as Jain and Sikh and Buddhism. So this concept is applicable on Hindus, Jain, Sikh and Buddhist family people. And if you fall in these families, so after the concept, after the knowledge I'm going to give you, some of you or almost most of you going to be Karodpati or Lakpati at least. And you will come to know a very interesting reality of this Hindu families in which we are living from so many years and we are not aware of. Okay. So Hindu undivided family or HUF, what is the concept behind it? Let's discuss it. It's a very, very interesting topic. And now what will happen? I just said you might be become Lakpati or Karodpati after this definition. So what must be happening? Now your focus and concentration must be increased automatically. Okay, fine. Now this topic we need to understand what sir is going to say. Why? Why it's increased? You understand why? Because interest has been created. This is called interest. So when some faculty is start taking your class, you should have interest like this. Yes, today I'll learn something new, what I didn't knew from so many years, whether it's accounts, whether it's law or anything. Do not think we need to study. Just understand you need to focus on this thing. We need to learn something new, which others don't know. Those are not pursuing this course, they do not know this thing. So we will understand something new. So this is the basic. When you start your study, when you start opening your books, when you start reading chapter, don't read chapter. Just feel that this is knowledge and we are going to get something which is new for us. And that can be make you start accounting very soon. But that's not the case. How you create interest, that's a separate topic. I'll tell you how you create interest. This is the simple thing what I'm trying to convey you. So now this topic is going to make you Lakpati, Karodpati, and I was not joking. I'm serious. I am actually very serious, right? So what is HUF? We have to understand the process. There is no definition of HUF under Income Tax Act. There is no definition which describes what is the meaning of Hindu undivided family under income tax. Clear? So the definition has been derived. The definition has been derived from the definition of joint Hindu family. There is a concept of joint Hindu family. So the definition of Hindu undivided family has been derived from a definition of joint Hindu family. Again, I'm telling you, you can send me queries. If somebody wants to ask in Hindi, he or she can send me queries in Hindi. I will answer that query in Hindi. Fine. You can send me query before ending this class. I will take all the queries which will be sent by you. Fine. I'm not going anywhere. I am with you. You guys need to stay with me. Just focus what I'm saying and everything will be easy. So there is no definition of HUF under income tax. So we derive this definition from joint Hindu family. Even the definition of joint Hindu family has not been prescribed under income tax act. So we do not have an income tax definition of joint Hindu family. This definition has been taken from Hindu law. Hindu law, which is based on Vedas. So we have Vedas. On the basis of Vedas, we have Hindu law, of course. So we have 4 Vedas, of course. We all know this, of course. That is Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samved, and Atharved. Fine. So we have 4 Vedas. And on the basis of Vedas, there is Hindu law. And from the Hindu law, we have taken the definition of joint Hindu family. Now, what is the definition? Joint Hindu family is practically a very simple term. In a general language, if we call what is the meaning of joint Hindu family, so we can say that a Hindu family in which male, female who reside together, like our uncle, auntie, our parents, grandparents, our cousins, etc. If they all live in a house together, that is called a joint Hindu family. So might be some of you is a part of a joint Hindu family, or even if not a part of joint Hindu family, you might know what is the meaning of a joint family. In a family, in our parents, our cousins, our uncle, our auntie, our grandparents lives together. That is called technically a joint Hindu family. And in these serials, you also saw the Star, ZTV. There's a lot of serial like Anupama, etc. It came like a joint Hindu family. Everybody is sitting in a hall and they're not doing any business. I do not know what they do for living. They just full makeup, and they just sit in a hall and they are just interrogating each other, and there is a new things coming in every episode. This is happening, that is happening. So that is technically a joint Hindu family. So understood what is the meaning of joint Hindu family? Fine. So if technically I elaborated what is the meaning of joint Hindu family, the definition say it like this. A joint Hindu family means a family in which all male and female who lives together all male and female who lives together as a descendant just a second. It says the HUF definition JHF, we derived it from I need some more space for JHF. Okay, HUF, you should take JHF over here. Fine. Joint Hindu family, then Hindu law, then Vedas. Fine. So joint Hindu family means when all male and female reside together who linearly descended. Right? The definition has been in the notes, so do not write it. So understand what I am trying to convey. So all male female who reside together who linearly descended from a common ancestor property. So what I just explained you in a very simple language, that there is a Hindu family, when there's uncle, auntie and cousins and parents and grandparents lives together, that is called a joint Hindu family. So technically we can draft that definition like this, that all male and female reside together who linearly means in a one line. Like for example, our grandparents, like our grandfather, then my father and my uncle, then myself, and then my future generation. So those are in line. Grandfather, father, younger uncle, elder uncle, of course, then myself, then my children. So these are called a descending line, descending from this line, descending one by one. So all male female who lives together in a descending order, descending from a common ancestor, but the ancestor should be same. So now the question arises, my grandfather, my ancestor, and my uncle children's, that my cousins, are their grandparents and my grandparents are same? The answer is yes. My grandparents and my uncle children's grandparents are same. So we will call the part of a joint Hindu family if we live together in a house. What if my maternal uncle, for example, my maternal uncle and their family, his wife and his children also lives with us permanently in our house. For example, if my maternal uncle and his son and wife, they also lives with us in the same house. So will they able to satisfy this definition? The answer is no, because they are residing together, but their ancestor, my maternal uncle and sister and his son and sisters are different from my ancestors. So if ancestors are not common, then that person cannot be treated as a part of our joint Hindu family. Understood? So to become the part of a joint Hindu family, there are condition number one, you should reside in the same house. If myself and my family reside in a other house and my brother reside in another house, then we cannot be called a joint Hindu family. So they should be reside together. Second condition, they should be lineally descended one by one generation and the ancestor should be common. Now a very interesting thing, my ancestor and my mother ancestors are not common. Understood? My ancestor and my mother ancestor and my grandmother ancestors are not common because my mother came from another family. So her ancestors and my ancestors are not common. So in case of mother, technically this definition will not be fulfilled. Common ancestor. Again, in case of sister, sister till marriage will satisfy the condition. She'll reside with us and ancestors are same. But after marriage, what will happen? Ancestor will be same, but she will not reside with us. So what will happen? So in case of mother and sister after marriage, there is a new concept. We have a new amendment. We have a new concept that will be discussed later in this topic, in this definition only. But that's a special provision. There is special question might be arise in your mind that in case of mother and sister condition not fulfilled, in case of sister after marriage condition is not fulfilled, then what will happen? So we have specific provision for that also. So have patience, that will also come. So we have a special provision in case of mother and sister after marriage. Even they will not satisfy all the above condition, but they will be treated as part of joint Hindu family. Why? Because the amendment we have. So relax, just for now, forget this mother concept and sister. Assume they both are part of our joint Hindu family. There are questions how mother and why sister, but there are specific provision. When we will discuss those specific provision, you will understand why they also part of our joint Hindu family. So joint Hindu family definition says all male female reside together who lineally descended from a common ancestor property will be called the part of that joint Hindu family. But in income tax, we need to discuss not the joint Hindu family, but we need to discuss Hindu undivided family. In our syllabus, there is no definition going to be asked what's the meaning of joint Hindu family. They will ask the definition of Hindu undivided family. So what is the meaning of Hindu undivided family? Let's go. The joint Hindu family and Hindu undivided family definition is same. Copy, paste. Control C, Control V. Understand? Copy, paste, Control C, Control V. So the same definition has been copied for the purpose of Hindu undivided family. Exactly same meaning has been assigned to Hindu undivided family. What is assigned to the joint Hindu family? There's only one difference, only one minute slight difference between this joint Hindu family and Hindu undivided family concept. What is the minute difference? Let me explain with an example. It's like this. For example, if there is a joint Hindu family having three brothers, A, B, C. Let's have four brothers, fine, D. Now, A is doing his job in some company and getting salary individually. So if somebody is earning income individually, what he or she will be called? Individual. So that income will be taxable as individual income. We have just read the definition of individual. Mr. B is doing his business as a proprietor. So whatever profit he is earning, again he is going to pay tax as per individual. Clear? C is also doing job somewhere. So again, he is going to pay tax on that income as an individual. D is not doing anything. He has no income. So he is not going to pay tax. So now you can see that all four brothers is living together in the same family. So they are joint Hindu family, but because they are earning with separate income. So there is no Hindu undivided family. They are only joint Hindu family. So when examination it has been given and it has been asked how A, B, C or D will pay tax. So we will write A will pay tax individual definition, B individual, C individual, and D do not have any tax liability. And this family will be treated as only joint Hindu family. That is not Hindu undivided family. So how a joint Hindu family will convert into a Hindu undivided family? There is a very simple concept. Now they decided they are working separately, and now they decide that they should start a new business together. All brothers decided that we should start a new business. And they registered that business as a partnership firm, assume. Now what will happen? The income earned by this new business will be taxable again as a partnership firm, not as an HUF. Not. Because they started a new business, but they registered it as a partnership firm. There is no mandatory condition that joint Hindu family members need to register as a HUF only. No, they can start a partnership firm or they can start a company. Then this income going to be taxable as a company income. Again, no HUF. But if they started a new business and registered it as a Hindu undivided family, now this family will be treated, or this income is going to be taxed as a Hindu undivided family provisions. So now you understand the difference, the slight difference between a JHF and HUF. If in a JHF, all members are earning income separately or by creating a partnership firm or company, etc., then that family will be called JHF. Income will be taxable as per individual or a firm or a company. But if those members of a JHF, if those members create a HUF, then only that HUF status will be available for that income, and that is going to be taxable as an HUF income. Again, let me tell you one thing. There is no mandatory provision that all four brothers should start a business. A or B might start a business as a partnership firm, and C and D can start a business as a HUF. In that case, the income earned by C and D from that HUF business is only going to be taxable as an HUF income. I hope it is clear. It's a very interesting definition. You all might thinking where we will be, when we will be Lakpati Karodpati. So have patience. It will come. I was not joking. I was actually serious. This definition is very huge and have a specific provision like for mother, sister, etc. So it is a very, very fascinating definition, very interesting definition, and of course that can make you rich, very rich technically. So moving on to the notes. So till now, what we just discussed in chart, need to revise it from the notes. HUF is not defined in the Income Tax Act. Of course, we all know that. This definition is right from the definition of joint Hindu family, which is right from the Hindu law and which is based on Vedas. You can see the HUF, Hindu under family, all are together. Hum saath saath hai time. Okay. Now definition came. Under Hindu law, it is defined as a family which consists of all persons lineally descended from a common ancestor, including females. Simple. Under the HUF, all the male and female are the members of such HUF, and the male and female both can be co-partner. Now the word came co-partner. The co-partner words is a very interesting word also. We will discuss it. That will also come into the picture. I am not discussing it over here. because when we discuss type of HUF, then this word will be discussed. So both can be co-partner in such HUF or GHF. In other words, the male and female co-partner both member has interest in HUF and GHF and can demand or receive partition. The partition concept also going to be discussed in the types of HUF concept. Then only you will understand you will be able to become a Lakpati, Karodpati or not. Fine. So these two things, co-partner and this demand and partition. I am not discussing it. You will discuss it within 5 or 10 minutes. The important thing, the elder co-partner of such HUF is called Karta. So in a company, there's like MD. In the same way, in the HUF, there is a leader. The leader is called Karta. Who will be called as a Karta? The elder co-partner of such HUF. The co-partner, elder co-partner will be treated as HUF in that Karta. Karta in that HUF. Okay. So now the thing came, which all we were waiting. That was when we will be able to become a Lakpati and Karodpati. So now we are going to discuss types of HUF. And you now understand why I was talking about that. That is types of HUF. Because before that, let me take the queries. Then we will discuss the types of HUF. So let's take the queries. What you are asking. I already take page 174, 5. Okay. Vijay. Okay, Matanjali is saying person includes everything, even Lord also. Yes, person definition covers God also. When we will complete our definition, you will understand even gods need to pay tax in our country. Okay. So Nal Jarendra is saying, sir, your teaching is really enjoyable. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, next. Vijay Gaur is saying, but sir, in the definition, person, everything is included. Yes. When we'll complete our definition, I just told you, nobody can escape this definition. Nobody. Next, okay. Guntur say Naga is saying, amazing session, sir. Okay, thank you. Miss Vidya is asking, sir, if I am an American citizen, just came to India to run my business for 1 year. In that case, should I have to pay tax to Indian government? Miss Vidya, this topic, this question, this query is connected to chapter number 2, that is residential status. And we will discuss it in detail over there. But for the time being, I can tell you, yes, you have to pay tax if you are a foreign citizen or any citizen. But if you earned income in India, you need to pay tax in India. There is no escape from this. Okay. Okay. Shivam is saying social science में interest नहीं था. No problem. अभी CA में interest create कर लो, life set हो जानी है. Okay. Next is okay. Tanishka Agarwal is saying, yes, sir, this was shown in the movie Lucy. Yes, in Lucy movies has been shown that our brain has immense power, infinite power. Do not watch movies. Stick to the plan. Stick to CA. Okay. Muktavya saying, thank you, sir, for motivation part. Boost up. Good. Very nice. Assessee means taxpayer. Jatinder Kumar is asking, assessee definition. We will discuss definition of assessee after the definition of person. Yeah, the taxpayer included in the definition of assessee, but there are a lot of person. Those are also included in the definition of assessee. Muktavya asking, what is HP head is house property. Building rent is called HP head. Okay. Next is, okay. Afreen Khan, total income. Mantanjali is saying we can learn heads of income by the lyrics salary or income from other source. House में गया और business में invest करके capital gain कमाया. why we need to do like that. We can be a professional. You cannot answer it like this. So it's not that difficult that you need any tricks. You can, and you will going to learn it by heart because this is a separate chapter. But it's, if you are doing like this, you can do it, no problem. Swati is asking why earning of CA in practice called surplus, because they are professional. They create income and expenditure account. In case of income and expenditure, we find the surplus of income over expenses, not net profit, etc. That's why I told you that. Okay. Hitesh, okay. There is no example of person other than person. Mr. Naga Pratyusha, I told you that's not possible to avoid that definition. CBT is very clever. Yes, CBT need to be very clever because there are a lot of person who want to avoid tax and tax evasion. Person includes animal. Pooja is asking person includes animal. Yes, person includes animal in the definition of AJP, artificial judicial person. There was a movie called Entertainment. You might have seen that in that Akshay Kumar movie. The dog has been uh, made the owner of every property. So in that case, if there is a animal who has been responsible or you getting property, then in that case also it will be included as an artificial judicial person. And on the basis of some guardian or court, tax need to be paid. Example of artificial judicial person, Mr. Shivam Singh. When we will discuss the meaning of artificial judicial person, I will give the example also. A sole proprietor individual, yes. Okay, Teja is asking if an individual income is clubbed with his spouse income, will it still fall under individual category? Yes, it will fall in that category only. But this is a topic of clubbing, chapter number 5. So we will discuss it in detail when we will study chapter number 5. Okay. Sir, can one person have income from all the 5 sources? Yes, you can have all the income of 5 sources. It can do job also, if you have a house property also, if you're doing business also. It is possible, of course. Ritik Jana is asking, sir, if I am a partner in partnership firm and the tax is paid on the total income of the firm, and if I took salary from this firm, should I pay tax on it? Yes, you might need to pay tax on it. There is a section 40B which deal with it. If there is a salary which is a excess limit, there is a section 40B which allowed a certain amount of salary. So whatever amount of salary is allowable in that category, you need to pay tax on that income of salary. But this is a part of your PGBP head, that is section 40B, that will come when you will read PGBP head. So this query you should not ask over here because that's a query which is going to be discussed in detail in PGBP head. Okay, Ankit Gupta is asking, oh, Mr. Ankit Gupta, this is Ankit Sharma. Sir, we love to hear your CA story. Yes, definitely, I am going to tell you. But before that, focus on what I'm teaching. That is more important. Joint Hindu family is a business where only family members own and manage the business. Joint Hindu family has no business. There's HUF business. We can say it. We should say it's HUF business. Okay. Okay. Kushia Sahu is saying it's really good example serial of joint Hindu family. Sir, wow, you are watching Anupama. Leave that nonsense serials. Focus on CA. Okay. Pooja, but wife is ancestor is common, then she is also HUF. Just forget about the wife and sister after marriage concept. We will discuss about the female specific provision. Fine. So just wait for it. Okay, next query is mother is a part of HUF. Yes, I told you, just wait for the provision for mother and sister after marriage. That will be we will discuss. If my grandfather brother and his family lives with us, then are we living in HUF? Your grandfather brothers? Yes, of course. They are part of descending, of course. Vishal Agarwal, sir, for study purpose, having this other place, 4 or 5 years of being lived different when it's being joined in the family. We need to understand the concept of HUF only, not joint in the family. So if you are not living with the family, definitely you are not part of the HUF. Same house, same ancestor. This is good. Joshi Siyog is saying HUF means same house, same ancestor. Good. Very good shortcut. Sir, if there is a single business of all four brothers, then it is HUF. Archie Gupta is asking, it will be an HUF if that business is registered as an HUF. If it's registered as a partnership from LLP or company, then it will be called those business, not HUF. HUF, sir, for HUF, there will be must two members. Of course, there must be two members at least to create any business. If there is only single person, it will be an individual in all cases. HUF comes in existence only when the members start business. Then we will discuss types of HUF for Matanjali. Then you understand when we can start an HUF. Yogita Kovar Devra saying everything is so clear, nice subject and best teacher. Shukriya, thank you. But every subject is easy. I just told you. Just you need to create interest and everything is easy in this life. What you guys need to do, you are the students, you need to do what? You have all the facilities, you have your parents, those are providing you every facilities, almost to all the, most of you are getting everything in your life from your parents. They just ask you one thing, just please go and study, that's it. And how difficult it is to learn a book. There are students I personally know. There are people I personally know. Those who not have financial funding, those who don't have parents, those are not able to, they want to study, they want to do joining some courses. But there are some problems with their family that they cannot afford that. They need to do some other works also. So compare your life with them. They actually want to study, but they do not have facilities. You have each and everything. And what you need to do? Have a book, have a copy, study it. You have a brain which is far intelligent, whatever you expect. So is it much we are expecting from us actually? So just do not think about it and study. Same house, same ancestor, same business. This is also good. Okay. MCQ session, because topic has not been completed yet, because the first MCQ I have prepared for the all theoretical part. So theoretical part has not been completed yet. That will be completed in the, I guess, day after tomorrow's session, starting 30 or 40 minutes. So I'll take the MCQ after 30-40 minutes of our next session. Do not worry, till now you can revise also your question. Okay, Abhi, we need to do not ask a HUF question because we did not finish that topic. The time I'll finish the topic, most of your query will be automatically solved. Right? Afreen Khan is asking, sir, what is 80G? Afreen Khan, 80G is a deduction for donation purpose. That is a part of deduction chapter, might be chapter number 10 or something. So that is a donation purpose deduction. If you donate something to someone, then you can in deduction section 80G. Why you are asking over Afreen G? Can robot can be a person? Yes, a robot can be a person in the definition of artificial judicial person. No problem. HUF tax differently. There's a tax rates. We will discuss about the HUF individual partnership firm. Yes, the tax structure and the taxability of HUF is different. Correct. What is artificial judicial person? We will come to that definition. Then you will come to know. We are just completing our HUF definition. Adopted child can be a member of HUF. Adopted child can only be a member. He or she cannot be a co-partner of that family. Okay, fine. So let's move on to the topic again. Let me complete the types of HUF. It will take not much time, but it's 20:43. It will take 10 minutes and I'll complete this topic. Then we will finish our class. Okay. So we are moving on to types of HUF. There are two types of HUF. One is called Mitakshara. One is Mitakshara HUF and one is Dayabhaga HUF. In one HUF, the death concept run, and the other HUF, the birth concept run. I have actually made the diagram opposite. Let's make it again. Types of HUF. First part is Dayabhaga, and the other is called Mitakshara. So, in one HUF, the concept is applicable on the death. In the other case, the concept is applicable of birth. So, D stands for death, So you might not get confused in examination. So Daya Bhaga is D. So that the concept of death is applicable in Daya Bhaga, and the opposite concept of birth is applicable in Mitakshara. Now, what is the concept is say that in case of Daya Bhaga, how it create partition take place, how it works. Understand with an example. For example, if there is Mr. F and he is the only person in the family, no brother, no sister, just assume there is Mr. F, he is alone and he is earning some income. So what will happen? He will be treated as individual under Income Tax Act. He will be treated as an individual under Income Tax Act because a single person, a single owner of income will be called an individual. Fine. So until Mr. F is alone, he will be called an individual. Now he get married and his wife came. Now there are two members in the family. And at least we need two people to start a HUF. But under Daya Bhaga Hindu families, there must be a death occur. Without death, there cannot start a HUF. They cannot register a HUF under Daya Bhaga Hindu family. So because Mr. F got married, so there is no death happens. So because there is no death, so they cannot create a HUF even if there are two members in the family. So now assume S1, S2 birth happened in this family, son 1 and son 2. Again, there is no death. Until death happens, there cannot be HUF registration under Daya Bhaga Hindu family. And now the death should be of father, not anyone else. Now assume Mr. F passed away. In this case, now S1, S2 and their mother, they can create a HUF. They can register their business under a HUF. Or we have a power to partition of the property also. Now the concept, understand the concept of death. If we belongs to a Daya Bhaga Hindu family, in that case, only a new business can start, or under that family, we can ask for our partition on the death of father only. Until father died, cannot create HUF and cannot ask for partition. So whole control will be in the hand of father. Whether you are 18 year plus, etc., you cannot ask for partition if we belong to the part of a Daya Bhaga Hindu family. So on death of father, we have choices. We can create a business or we can ask for partition. Now imagine S1 have son 3 birth in the family, S4, S2 have birth S5 and D1 daughter. Son and daughter have equal power under Hindu family, whether you are belong to Daya Bhaga or Mitakshara, same. Now again, S3, S4 cannot join this HUF, nor they can demand partition until S1 died. And same, S5, D1 cannot enter to the HUF or demand partition until S2 died. Now what happened? Assume S1 died. Now a new HUF can be created with S3, S4, S2. S5 or D1 cannot come into the HUF because their father is still alive and a W. So now they need to register a new HUF or they can again ask for partition. Now when S5 and D1 will enter into this HUF or can demand partition on the death of S2. When S2 died, then S5 and D1 can ask for partition or can join a business and run HUF with S3 and S4 and W. So the basis of this HUF creation or partition is upon the death of father only. Understood? Now Mitakshara has opposite concept. It based on birth. Same example, if I am taking in the Mitakshara, if there is Mr. F alone, he has some income, he will be treated as an individual. Now he get married. Now Mitakshara say that on birth we can create HUF, and birth does not mean the natural birth of a baby. No, the birth means when another person comes into the family permanently. That will be treated as equal as to a birth. So wife comes into the family as a permanent family part, not a guest. She is the permanent part of his family. So under Mitakshara, HUF can be created on marriage also. Under Devagha, it cannot be created on marriage, but on Mitakshara, it can be done. Now S1 born, S2 born. Under Mitakshara, as soon as the child born, they will automatically the part of this HUF or JHF. We are discussing the types of JHF and HUF both. They're both same concept. If you do not have any HUF, if you have JHF, only the same concept will be applicable. You cannot demand partition in case of Dayavaga before the death of father. But under Mitakshara, on birth, by birth, you can be a part of HUF or you can demand partition by birth too. This is the power of Mitakshara in the family. If a baby born in a family, and suppose when he or she is like 4 or 5 years, and he starts saying, I need a partition, then there will be a partition. It's a legal partition have to be done in the Hindu family. So if you are in a Mitakshara Hindu family, you can ask for a partition. Do not ask for a partition, but you have the power to ask partition and you will get it. There is no requirement of 18 years of age or anything else. Even in a 5-year child can ask for a partition and the partition will be granted to. So under Mitakshara, there is no need to create a new HUF. Only the members will be added in the same HUF or they can ask for partition also. Again, S3, S4, S5, D1, they all automatically be the part of this HUF and any one of them can ask for partition anytime. In the Mitakshara Hindu family, there is a proverb has been said that a baby born with a silver spoon. The baby born with a silver spoon. Why? Because he's already rich at the time he take birth. So if you belongs to a Mitakshara family, that means you can ask for partition anytime. And a very interesting fact also, you can take partition from your grandparents' family as well as from your maternal grandparents' family also. Till now, you might be not knowing this. You might be thinking that you can only take part of your family property. But no, in case of Hindu undivided family, whether it belongs to Devagha or Mitakshara, in some specific situation, you can also have the power to receive property of your maternal grandparents. So imagine how much money you can have if you have partition, if your parents have a property of 1 crore rupees and there are 4 members in a property, you are a 25 lakh rupees owner. And even if your maternal grandparents have property of some amount, then you can also take part of that property. So you might be a Lakpati and Karodpati at any time if you belongs to a Mitakshara by birth. And in Devagha, that is possible only on the death of the father. Now the most important question must be in your mind that in which HUF we belongs, in which JHF we belongs. How we will find it out whether we are a part of Devagha or Mitakshara. So dear students, here is the suspense breaker. The family belongs to Assam and West Bengal. The Hindu family, those belongs to Assam and West Bengal. They will be treated as Devagha Hindu families and all the Hindu families to other states. All others will be governed by Mitakshara, Hindu undivided family concept. So if you belongs to Assam and West Bengal, you have to wait, you should wait. And if you belongs to other states, you can ask for partition anytime. The word is belong, not reside. So if somebody belongs to Assam or West Bengal and he or she shifted with the family into Delhi, that doesn't mean that they will govern by now Mitakshara. They will still be governed by the Devagha school. Vice versa also applicable if you belongs to Delhi and you have shifted due to transfer of your parents, etc., to Assam or West Bengal. That doesn't mean that now you need to follow Daya Bhaga. No, you can still ask for partition because you will be belonged by the Mitakshara school of Hindu family. Now you might be asking why Assam and West Bengal be governed by Daya Bhaga. Why? This why is not going to be asked in examination. In examination only there will be provisions need to be asked from you, not the reason. Why it is? It's a very difficult thing to answer because why something happened? Why income tax in India? Why the rate is this? Why HUF concept? Why 7 people? Why 8 people? Why income tax rule 1962? Why? So why is never going to be asked in any subject because why belongs to the person who create that act. They know why they create it like this. So the creator knows what the meaning of why, or the God knows what is the meaning of why. So why it is, that is not going to be asked in question, but I will let you know why, because there is a reason of everything, why it happens. But that's not part of our syllabus, because if we go into the why it's happening, then we'll not be able to learn the provision. We'll be confused and messed with that why concept. But I'll let you know why this happened, why Assam and West Bengal got this Daya Bhaga. Because Assam and West Bengal are the most conservative states of our country, as per the logic behind it. Conservative means they are very connected to their custom religion. They are not that modern. They actually follow the rules. They actually follow the custom that family do. If you know any Assami family or West Bengal, you can feel that they are very attached to their religion, their custom. If there is Devi Puja in West Bengal, then all the family members follow that custom, have fast, etc. In those West Bengal families and Assami families, practically the elder male member, the elder co-partner run the family. Like the grandparents, whatever he say, our parents and uncle follow, and we also need to follow it. Because in that family, technically, practically, control is with the elder members. In our states, government resume we are more liberal, we are more modernized. And technically in our family, the government think that the elder grandparent do not have any control on his son. So they do not have control on grandson or grandchildren, of course. So that Mitakshara will be more suited to us because we are more free, we are more modern, and we are not technically follow our grandparents' things, etc. And in that Devagha, they are conservatives, they are technically following all the roots, culture, rules, custom, etc. So that Devagha will suit to their family. So now if I'll ask you the difference between the Devagha and Mitakshara, differences that is applicable in Assam, West Bengal, other cities, of course, other states. Devagha on marriage, we cannot create HUF. In Mitakshara, when we can create HUF, one it depends upon death of father, others depend upon birth. In every death, you need to create a new HUF under Daya Bhaga, but in Mitakshara, same HUF continue, only the members added. So I have already made the difference. There are difference between Daya Bhaga and Mitakshara. If you got the concept correctly, you can understand the difference why I am writing like this. So you need to read all the differences. I have described almost 6 differences. You need to read it. And then the note that say Jain, Sikh and Buddhist. These are 3 separate religions, like Muslim and Christian. But for the purpose of income tax, Jain, Sikh and Buddhist families are included as Hindu undivided family or joint Hindu family. So if you are in a Jain, Sikh and Buddhist family, same Dayabhaga and Mitakshara applicable. If you are in West Bengal, Assam, you will be Dayabhaga, otherwise you are Mitakshara. You can ask for partition. You might be again thinking why Jain, Sikh and Buddhist, they are separate religion like Christian and Muslims. Why Christian Muslims not included, but these 3 only included. Again, why came? And why came? Why do not have any answer? But let me tell you why it happened. Because Jain, Sikh and Buddhist religion have the same thing, and that is their originator belongs to Hindu, and these 3 religions originate from India. Like Jain Dharma has been started by Bhagwan Rishabh Dev or Bhagwan Adinath, and it has been said that he is the part of Bhagwan Shiv. So, because Bhagwan Shiv was Hindu and Bhagwan Rishabh Dev and Adinath, that he was the part of Ishfaku Vansh. Ishfaku Vansh, you might have read this thing. So he was the starting person of Ishfaku Vansh, and that Ishfaku Vansh has the Shri Ram, also the part of that Ishfaku Vansh. I guess 39th generation, and the last person of that Ishfaku Vansh was Gautam Buddha. So Gautam was the last person of the Ishfaku Vansh. Ram was also part of that, and it was started by Bhagwan Rishabdev or Adinath Bhagwan. Yeah. Sikh is started by Guru Nanak. He was also a Hindu, and he started a new religion. He started from India, of course. Buddhism, of course, started by Raja Siddharth, who actually left all his kingdom, etc., and went to the jungle and become a Gautam Buddha. So he was also a Hindu because he was a Raja Siddharth. So these three religions started from India, and these the originator belongs to Hindu technically. So they got the benefit of same Hindu undivided family, etc. So in case of HUF and JHF, we now left with only the female special provision. These are the special provision for females which is left out. That we will discuss in the next class, in the balance theoretical provision as well as the rates of chart provision. That is also going to be discussed in our next session, which will be day after tomorrow. Let me see if there is any query, special query, interesting query. So I'll answer. Otherwise, we will answer the query. If I have left any query, if I have not, I skipped any query, you can ask me on the next session starting. So I'll take all those queries which has not been answered now, will be answered in the next session starting. Here's a request to all of you, do not ask query regarding HUF or JHF because that topic has not been completed yet. When I'll complete it, you'll get almost your answer in that chapter or in session also. So you can ask me the queries about HUF, JHF later. Okay. Okay. Joshi, Seo, my name is Sahil Joshi. Seo is my father name. Okay, Sahil, sorry, your name is Sahil. Understand? Everything is so easy. Stepdaughters and stepsons come into HUF. Yes, they are part of course, our HUF, but they will not be part of, they will be member, not co-personal. We will discuss the definition of co-personal. As I told you, do not ask question related to HUF because there's some specific, some important topic has been left out. We will complete our definition. You will get your all answer of this kind. I'll not answer these questions of like partition, etc., because the provision has need to be complete yet. Yes, Matanjali is correct. So the conclusion is that under the Avaga, son cannot create HUF until his father dies. Yes. Okay, so okay, fine. So if any query left, you can ask me on day after tomorrow in the starting session. So till then, please study hard, take care, and we will see each other very soon. Good night. Have a nice day. So Mr. Ram, we can shut the class.